Village regular council meeting, August 14th, 2017.
Well, if anybody has any issues. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody wanted to know why we only have a little flag up there, because the state requires us to have a full flag at the mayor's court. Okay, Danny?
Yeah.
And Victor?
Yep.
And Jackie?
Yes.
And Greg?
Present.
Dwayne? Absent. Jimmy?
Yep.
Jason obviously he'll be back in a little bit, I would hope. Mavis?
Here.
And Shannon?
She went on that way.
She's here.
Okay, she's here though.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. Okay, before we go any further on this, we need to talk about Dwayne. He's missed 5 meetings in the last year. This is his 3rd one in a row that he's missed. I just got a phone call from him just about an hour ago, and basically he can't do it anymore. So the issue being is that he's working 2.5 jobs. His wife's pregnant with a set of twins. She's in her 30th week, which is what the 2nd or 3rd trimester there. So she's, and I understand somebody young with a family coming up. So so with that said, what we have to do is we have to, of course, make a motion to council. Now, the way to have our code is, it's up to the council to replace a vacancy in the seat for the first 30 days. Okay, approximately 3 months ago, I received 2 letters from council. One was seated. The other one I still have a letter for, and I'd like to read the letter out to council. It'd be completely up to the council what they want to do with this issue.
Should we vote to accept his resignation?
Well, read this first before we do the resignation, okay? But and before we go further with anything else on there, Vivian Wood, she's an elector inside the village, which means she actually lives inside the village, isn't a voting member of the village. She'd like to be considered for village council should a spot come open. I think I can be a positive part of the community, and I'm a former council member. I found it difficult with the previous administrations, so basically she volunteered to leave, and she volunteers anytime she can, and she believes that she would make a good member. And also, as we all know, she runs a Believe store for the community, and thanks for your consideration. So I just want you to meander that in your head as we go forward with the motion to accept the resignation of Dwayne Monacle.
Do we have a written resignation?
No, he gave me a verbal resignation. He said he'd follow up with it tomorrow. He's at work, and there's no way that he could make it here.
And you talked to him about missing 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And what that entailed, and
Exactly.
He understood.
Yes.
And was okay with it.
Yes, and he said he apologizes because he missed a couple of fire board meetings, which the last couple of fire board meetings were rip roars. He didn't call to let me know or any other member of the council know that he wasn't able to meet his requirement over the fire board. And as everybody knows here, the situation over there is also volatile. I'm not liking the idea that he didn't give us the idea that he wasn't going to be there, because at least I would have showed up, at least had an idea what was going on. Of course, the last fire board meeting didn't exactly go as planned for some of the people there at the fire board. I don't think that it was proper the way they did things, and I know it's not, but that's a different issue altogether. That's on the fire board. So, with that said, Dwayne, like I said, he called, he apologized, said he still wants to be involved as far as, volunteering when he can to help the village anytime he can. So I told him on the phone, I said, I'll make sure that everybody on council understands that, where he stands and where he's at. So.
Well, I make a motion to gracefully accept Dwayne Monaco III's resignation, unless anybody.
I'll second it.
Okay.
That's as of now, or today?
Yeah, it would be as of right this minute.
Okay.
And who seconded it? I'm sorry.
Danny.
Who did?
Danny.
Danny. Okay, Danny. All right, Danny, sorry. Okay, roll call vote, be Greg,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Victor,
Yes.
Danny,
Yep.
and Jimmy.
Yep.
And that is 5 yeas. No nays. Okay. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to have some table discussion on the situation. Now, you do understand she is up for election. She still has to keep going forward with her election promises. She can only hold that seat for an unexpired term of Dwayne. Okay? So no matter what, when she goes forward, she still has to run for election, which you're already on the ballot anyway.
Yes.
Okay, so there's no misunderstanding where she's at on her, where her,
Well, that would take her to, she wouldn't be, well, Dwayne wasn't running for this year
No.
anyways.
yes, no,
So
all she is,
next year, right.
all she would be doing is we'd be sitting on her unexpired term up to the time that she got
December.
elected,
Yeah.
and then she would be elected in the seat. If she won the election, she would be elected in that seat and then hold that seat for 4 years. Now, you got to remember, we've got 6 people running for 4 seats. Okay? Present council members included. Any one person on council here, get the wrong end of the stick depending on how the votes go when it comes up to the electors, because nothing's ever for sure thing. Ask Hillary. I mean, but the issue being is that's what, all she would be is for the unexpired term, Dwayne, up to November. Okay, and at that time, if she did gain one of the seats, then she would take that seat in January that she was elected to, and then Dwayne's seat would come open again in January. You understand how that all works? Everybody understands? Everybody in the gallery understands?
Yeah, but we've got 5 seated.
Yeah, we have 5 seated right now.
So what happens if I don't win a seat?
Well, then you,
Then
You go back to the belief store.
no.
Well, if we got 6, then whoever gets
Yeah,
the 5th place
yes, would take the seat.
Dwayne's.
Right.
Yes, would take Dwayne's seat, yes. So it's, no matter how it is, it all works out fairly. But like I said, she would be sitting in the seat on the unexpired term, okay,
Until November.
until November. And then when she got elected in January, she would take the seat she got elected for, and Dwayne's seat would come open and would be seated by whoever
Lost that.
lost that particular election. Kind of.
All right.
I don't want to be making the rules in the middle, but I did go back and read the ORC about 15 times trying to get it right in my head.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Danny.
I'm confused.
Okay, go ahead.
So if she wins November,
Right.
she'll be in for 4 years.
Yes, it's starting in January.
Right.
Just like what we would be doing.
Right.
But she would take, so whoever's lost,
Would take Dwayne.
Would-
in January would take Dwayne's.
Okay, I got you.
Council could, now, hold on, council could appoint in the first 30 days. After January 31st, if nobody, council does appoint, then it's up to me to make the appointment. So council gets the first shot every time. Right?
Of the unexpired,
The open seat. The open seat, okay?
I'm with you.
See, it all works out at the end, it's just how we get there. It's just that map, just trying to follow the map. Okay, so basically what we're doing is this, if in fact you decide to, and you don't have to, I mean, this is completely up to the council here.
Well, I make a motion to accept, or have Vivian replace Dwayne at his current position.
I'll second it.
Okay, so, first of all, let's ask Vivian. Do your letter that I received from you about approximately 90 days ago, do you still stand on that letter?
Yes,
And you would still like to be a member of council?
yes.
Okay.
You don't think you need to do like town beds and discuss it? Somebody.
Well, we're going to
We'll
teach
say it
you,
in front of me.
we'll teach you the secret handshake later.
Yeah.
And you got to get sworn in.
So So, before we go any further, I'd like to, we already got the motion. And that was who did the first one that?
Victor?
Victor. And second,
I second it.
Danny. Okay. For Vivian?
Yeah.
And that's for Vivian to take the
Unexpired.
Dwayne, unexpired time. So, okay. So,
Do we need to do an open call vote?
Roll call
yeah, we're going to
vote.
do a roll call vote here. So I just want to make sure that Mavis has got it right in the minutes. You got it?
Yeah, I'll get
Okay.
it.
And roll call vote, it'll be, we'll start out with Greg
Yes.
and Jackie.
Yes.
And Victor.
Yes.
And Danny. And Jimmy.
Yep.
Okay. 5 yeas. Okay. Well, now,
Oh, this is exciting.
I know, it's not that exciting.
Video at 11.
Vivian, would you stand up?
Call a railroad man.
And would you raise your right hand? Okay,
Repeat after me.
over here, yeah, right there. Okay. I, and state your name,
I, Vivian Wood,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution of Ohio,
the Constitution of Ohio,
the ordinances of the Village of New Holland,
the ordinances of the Village of New Holland,
that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
of the Village of New Holland
of the Village of New Holland
during my term in office
during my term in office
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you there, Vivian. You can now take a seat in front of the council here.
Well, I have something on the visitors' notes first. Do I?
Okay, we can take, you
Can
can
I do it anyway?
Yeah, you-
All right.
that'll be fine.
I'll get an agenda of what I do.
Okay.
Extra one. Oh, there's the extra agenda, Dan can give them one. One's for Jason and you, two of those. Whatever's there.
You know, for everybody that's here, it's been a long time that we've actually had competition for council seats. It's usually been, 3, maybe 4 would show up for council meetings. So, I'm glad that, to see a little more enthusiasm inside the neighborhood, and it makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, let's go to the visitors, and Vivian, if you would like, and I know you're now on council, but you can go ahead and do your
Yes.
visitor thing.
I am. I'm Vivian Wood. A couple months ago, I asked about Mayweather's Court, and I was told it would be taken care of, and it hasn't.
Oh,
So,
it didn't get done?
no, sir.
Okay,
And it's been 2 months, and I thought that was long enough.
that is long enough.
We were planning on doing it with the load for Allen, but
Now,
we haven't. But then, what's his name owns that field?
Art,
Yeah, he decided that he wanted to do that again,
right,
so it got pushed back.
okay, because they used the grindings on that particular,
Well, we were
Shop.
planning on doing Blacktop.
Oh, okay.
We were gonna, when we got a load for Allen Avenue, we were gonna use whatever was left to do that.
is that the answer? I know that's not the answer you wanted, but,
No, because the person that complained about it bottomed their car out on it.
yeah.
So,
And put some coal patch down tomorrow.
anything to keep that level, because she her whole car is a little car, drove out on the bottom of it.
Joey, can you handle that? Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Let's see here, get down. Frank, you're next on there, nothing, a conscientious observer. Thank you, Frank, appreciate seeing your smiling face, always good to see you here. And Kenny, how you doing?
All right.
Long time no talk to.
Yep.
How you been?
All right.
Anything you have to say, or just okay? And Ray?
I'm just here observing.
Okay. Well, good. Appreciate it. Hey, I love to see some new smiling faces. It's always a good thing. At least you get the right information. Yeah, let me see here. Who do I have here next? Is that you, Karen?
No.
No, who's that?
It's probably me.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah.
What's your first name?
What's your first name?
Rick?
Rick what? What was your last name, Rick?
True?
How in the world did you mix up Kara and Rick?
I'm
He was
sorry,
looking
Rick.
at the last name.
Yeah, I don't speak Canadian. Is there anything you need to say, or just awesome? Appreciate you showing up. And Joe, you got nothing, but I appreciate you being here. At least you gave Vivian a good answer that she wanted to hear. Okay, I thought that was taken care of, Vivian. My fault. I should have down and checked it. And Mr. Simon, how you doing? Anything to do for you?
Yep, I'm fine.
Awesome. Another one in here. Great. And Kara, anything in particular? All right, good deal. Good deal. I really do appreciate everybody.
Mr. Myers never signed it.
No, that's fine, Mr. Myers.
No, I think you guys made a great choice putting Vivian.
Yeah. Make sure you sign down on the way out if you would, just when you get an opportunity. Okay.
Pass that down.
Let's go into the utility building clerk report.
I didn't bring one.
Huh?
Yours, mine.
Yeah, come on.
Mine didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
No.
There you go.
No, I deleted it.
Okay.
She doesn't have anything.
Okay, nothing from the utility burning. You don't have any, no reductions or anything like that? All right, well, good. That's awesome.
That's 2 months in a row.
Wow. Things are getting, obviously things are doing pretty good on the water side then. Okay. Obviously we'll have to hold off and table the police department report, and if you would, you can go ahead and give your mayor court report.
Okay. For the month of July,
Did you have any paperwork for us, honey?
I do.
You get one of these?
We're doing it now, all right. Anything different today?
For the month of July, I entered 49
Here you go,
cases.
just second down to Vivian and down there. You want
With
to
a
get yours to
total of
Jimmy?
67 counts.
Just give it back to her when you're done.
We received 41 payments, and we returned, it doesn't say the amount, but it was $20. Someone had overpaid a ticket, so we sent them a refund check. For the month of July, we took in $5,060, paid out $1,472 to the state, which is a net of $3,588, weekly average of $897. And we do have $3,000 out there in payment plans that's due. Not due, but people are paying on their tickets in a payment plan for a month.
That's a 90-day deal, isn't it, Shannon?
It depends. You mean a 90-day, have 90 days to pay it?
Right.
It depends. If their situation's real tough, the magistrate will determine it based on their story, I guess.
Right.
If the guy says I can get paid next week, he'll make it 30. If,
Right.
some people just need
Sure.
60 days. It's his call, so. And that about does it. Yeah, that does it.
How much do we have out on payment plan?
3,000
Even?
even, yep.
But from the total, our net is $3,588, right,
Yes, 3,588, which is a weekly average of $897. Yeah.
And the total out, that includes paying the magistrate, just for people that don't normally come here?
Yes,
Could you-
that's total out. The
Could you-
magistrate's $300 a month.
Our great state, we have to issue up.
Is there anything else coming out of that, 1472, besides the magistrate?
Well, it's the state fees, it's the, what they do is they you pay $39 for every ticket written. Traffic. Criminal is $29, you pay it to the state, and then it gets broke down, $1.50 to Muni Court. What is it, $20 to the indigent fund. It's kind of complicated process, really.
Is there a lot of them that dips into that? Or just half a dozen?
That dips into
The
what?
1472 that gets a piece of that?
Yeah, that's the grand total, but the state gets it, and then what they do is we pay Mandel's office, and then Mandel funnels it out to who it needs to go to, so that's why it ends up being $39 for traffic, $29 for criminal cases. And then they are the actual collectors of the money, and then they'll send Muni Court a check. Muni Court's $1.50 per case. Trying to think here, the indigent fund, the drunk driver fund is $9, but in certain tickets you only pay $9. The only two mandatory charges on every single case is the 20 and the 9 for the indigent and the drunk driver fund. Because on criminal you don't pay those. You don't pay. It's very, very confusing. I'll have to print out a report and let you guys see what one looks like with it all broke down, but
Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah, it's pretty interesting how they do it, but yeah, it's different. Very complicated process. That's probably why they have a collector for it, I guess, to disperse it.
That $38.50, that's a month.
Yes, that's for the month of July. This is for all of July.
Whatever for you.
Well, we'll go ahead and table the administrative report. Obviously, he's not back yet either, so we'll go ahead and table that, and hopefully he gets back here fairly quickly. Let's talk about the minutes from the previous meeting. Everybody received a copy of an email and read them and reviewed them, so, we go from here.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Do you have minutes of the meeting printed out from last time?
I printed a set for Greg because I send him email.
I don't think I should approve whatever.
No,
thing
you don't
is
have
meeting.
You can abstain on this one because you don't have, you wouldn't have
I don't know
knowledge.
anything
Yeah, you wouldn't have
about
knowledge of that, so you can
Yeah.
abstain from that.
Who seconded that?
Okay, so vote. Greg?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Danny?
Yep.
And Vivian? Abstain?
Abstain.
And Jimmy?
Yep.
Who made the motion? I did.
Yeah, you did.
Who seconded it?
I did.
Thank you, Victor.
So it was 5 yeas, no nays, and 1 abstain. Must knew going to be an abstain in there, huh? Okay. All right, we'll go into a treasury report and pass the bills of reconciliation for July. This is where it gets quiet for a while. This is where,
It's the bills.
for everybody out there, is where we pay the bills.
The monthly
Everybody on council is
Thanks.
required to look at every PO,
Just orders.
which is every purchase order, look at every maintenance order, look at every check that is written by the clerk for that particular orders and maintenance
That's where I
orders,
start.
and making sure that they all are in agreement with this is how these bills are being paid. And then once they all agree on that, just for everybody that's here, once they all agree on how the how the POs and the maintenance orders and all that stuff are paid, and then what they do is they authenticate it with their signatures, with their initials, and then on the final signature on the 2-signature check. So everything that comes through this council, everything's touched by everybody on council, and nothing is unauthorized until it's signed by, or authorized until it's signed by myself. So that's how that kind of works. Some people don't know how that works. Some people think I just write the check. Well, you go to jail for writing checks, especially when they're not authorized. So the way we have a safety net here, and there's some people that's been on council before know what I'm talking about. The safety net is basically I got 6 people. 6 people look over the bills, 6 people look over the POs, 6 people look over the maintenance orders, and they all realize, okay, this is necessary or not necessary. And sometimes you'll hear some of the council members as they're going through there, hey, I see a check here for $17,000. You know, what's $17,000 check going out for? And then it would be up to Mavis to explain what that check would be going out for. Or you might see a check in there for pizza. Okay, who bought pizza? We want to know who bought pizza. Who's going to reimburse the village for the pizza? So that's what it is more checks and balances. Another thing that we do here for everybody, you know, I know the first time comers here, every expenditure that we make, every check that is written in this village, you can go on ohiocheckbook.com. All you got to do is go up to that site right there. You put in the Village of New Holland, and it will show you every check that's been written for the last 3 years, what it's been written for, and who authorized the payment on it. That's called transparency. That never happened here before, 3 years ago. Before everything was done on a secret. Nobody told anybody what's going on. Of course, when I came in as the mayor, first thing I wanted was total transparency. We all know what happened in the last administration. They weren't very transparent. Okay, so they got themselves in a little bit of trouble. So, in this administration right here, everything is not only double checked by the council and myself and the fiscal officer, but it also goes out for everybody in public, so they can go and say, why did Vivian buy pizza? You know, and then you'll come to the next meeting. Hey, I seen on ohiocheckbooks.com that somebody wrote a check out for pizza. I want to know what that was all about. And you're completely within your rights to come in here and ask that question. So, you know, and we do have open information. And anytime you want any information from anything inside the village here, all you got to do is walk down the street about 50 yards on in here and ask Mavis, and she'll give you any document that you ask if it doesn't have anything to do with it. That's HIPAA. And everybody understands that. Any personal information, you can't give out any personal information as far as where people live, you know, their social security numbers or that kind of stuff. But anything other than that, unless the court says I can't give it out, it's yours for taking. All you got to do is ask for it. So when you hear something out there that doesn't sound like it's too good to be true, you need to find out, or you come over here and find out if it's too good to be true. Can't make it any more transparent than that, can you? I know, Frank, your dad would love to have that.
Maintenance. What does outstanding payments mean? What you're waiting, money you're waiting to come in?
No, what happened was the cutoff is the 31st, and Shannon got some checks in and she posted them that day, and they didn't get in the bank because she put them in the overnight. So I had to take that into consideration in order to balance. The money was there, but it wasn't in the bank.
It's a night drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they using this number here for the
Success with night drop.
over here? That's working out better than that.
We're still letting them use the bank. There's a lot of bills we need to, we've already paid for. That we're having.
Where's the check for this? It's not attached.
Oh, I had to get it over to the bank today, Greg.
That's it.
Or we'd have paid late penalties.
And I've never seen this before.
But
The way you got this, you know.
those are all the electronics.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's the check for this?
There is no check. It's electronic withdrawals from our checking
Okay,
account.
electronic withdrawal.
They're in there every month. Yeah.
Thank you.
did you turn the furnace on?
No, I was ready to say that for some reason that thing's like,
Yeah, it feels warm in here, normally it's cold. I thought normally on vent, but it's cold and warm.
it's all these warm bodies in
That's
here.
what it is.
Yeah, I got him.
Some years old, drunk as can be, but home.
It's Jason's fault. Yeah, it's Jason's fault. Did they die or did his squad come get them?
No, squad took him.
Okay. OD?
On alcohol.
Oh, never mind.
Nothing wrong with that.
For him, there was.
Let's see if you enjoyed that.
The lady I talked to said he didn't even drink.
What was in the
You seen
bottle?
what I brought in?
What
It was
was that?
something like I've never seen before, like a mixture of whiskey and vodka and iced tea.
Not like Long Island iced tea, huh?
Damn, that's a new
Yeah.
iced tea.
New Holland iced tea.
Let's see if Daddy wants to experiment with that.
Let's find out.
Yeah, I see a lot of nods and everybody want to experiment with that, right?
It's back here.
Oh, we have a guinea pig though. Everybody's agreeing to the guinea pig.
Let the big son.
You think we can fix it, air conditioner in here?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Get a fan.
Oh, yeah.
Got a fan back there.
I'm sweating.
Saturday morning. And then I was there till 1 Sunday. About 5. He still was that's why I was here. That way, you don't stop by either. You got 300 mile an hour life and fire.
You all go 300 mile an hour.
I won't say you took one with it, but.
Oh, it does. I obey all the laws what I'm authorized for like.
Greg, you want me to just make a copy of this? And give yours back?
No, I got a copy.
Okay,
That's the next one I had.
thanks.
If you want to get them out of order, these in any kind of order, maybe?
Yeah, they're in order.
Deserve your presence.
Don't you have anything else to do?
Okay, what I used to do is,
Like take time.
Jackie, what I used to do is I used to sit there with Cheryl and both of us went over, two of us went together. We looked at everything over together.
Yeah, but you do Sharon better than I did, Jack.
I'd like to see it. I mean, my little old hands, it's okay, I won't
We
tell.
just need to fix it and put it electronically, use the projector.
I understand.
That way.
There you go, Jackie. Now you got something to do.
We're trying to get into the new century. We're trying to get there.
We'll get there sooner or later.
Yeah. I'd love to be able to scan them and just flash them. It'd be a whole lot easier.
What?
Scan them and flash them on screen.
The checks?
Yeah.
All done?
Greg had that.
I ain't done that yet.
Okay.
Come on, Jimmy. Leave me out, man.
Sorry, Greg, I thought you had it first.
No,
I wasn't paying attention.
I've still got the same pile I started with.
I'll be sure to hand it to you then.
All right, buddy, thank you.
For the betterment of council, I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way while we're here. For everybody here, Fayette County Health Department sent us a little a premise code violation, which is basically they condemned a house over on Allen Avenue, 34 Allen Avenue. Anybody familiar with the address over there?
Yeah, they're living in it.
That's it.
Well, I don't think they're living in it anymore. Obviously, the Fayette County Board of Health came down and basically gave them the notice that that they're going to have to bring it up to compliance and fair to comply with its order before the case to Marion Township trustees for eventual action. Unfortunately, I don't understand why we go to Marion Township when it's inside the village, but that's something that just came in, just to let you know. So they got their notice. And while everybody's still here, I'll read this off. And this is an attaboy for obviously the chief and the New Holland Police Department. They had a Milton Bank, basically said I'm writing in reference to the bank robbery in New Holland office on 6/29/17. I want to condemn you and your office for the you and your officers for the outstanding dedication and work apprehending Joshua Ray in such a timely manner. I appreciate how the Village of New Holland PD, Pickaway County Sheriff's Office, Fayette County Sheriff's Department joined together to resolve this crime. The response time for the rival as well as the apprehension of the criminal was great. Our New Holland employees, as well as I, appreciate all the special care, understanding, and comfort shown by all the officers who responded to the crime scene. And that's Randall L. Hammond, the Ohio Valley Bank senior officer. So that's an attaboy for Jason and the guys, and actually a nice little feather in the hat for everybody.
Good job.
What'd that cost you to have him print that up?
I don't even know that actually, or I'd tell you.
So that was kind of nice.
Hold on.
They just sign in checks.
What's that now?
They just sign in checks.
Yeah, they're.
Can I pass some stuff out when you want, so I don't have to?
Let's just hold off. Yeah, just hold off. Yeah, don't get everything all bundled up. There's a lot of stuff on the table right now.
Sorry, I'm just what was going on.
You can hold on to that. Yeah. You can just give that letter to Jason when you're done with it.
I found that on the floor, I think that was there.
That was stuff back when I had
Driving nuts.
Yeah, here's Claire.
We'll wait till.
Like a mama gorilla.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been on quite a while, but yeah, just, I think they just officiated it, so I don't know exactly, I don't know, I haven't received an order yet from them whether they did a vacate order or not.
There's been a car.
Okay.
That all works at this township pickup in the cemetery. Property tax for the cemetery.
But that's all, that's what we send them, and they pick up probably 12.
They have their own.
Yeah, they have their own thing. I think they pay just about 12, where we pay.
No, they pay about 24.
Is that right? 20?
Yeah, with their levy.
Right.
But when the levy, they didn't renew it, they only gave us gave the cemetery $12,000. That's why that new contract needed to be done.
Right, we'll know now. Don't
It
never.
didn't get done back then, but
Yeah, it'll never happen now. We could leave it. No, you wouldn't. We can't. Everybody pays the same. Same 3 mils. Everybody pays 3 mils. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. And you never have, never. Not in a relationship yet.
That's all the DP&L bills for everywhere. It's a lot of money, huh?
You need to put windmills up,
Or
the whole town.
Turbines.
Yeah,
Turbines.
whatever you want to call them.
Turbines.
yeah, streetlight assessment's a killer, isn't it?
That would create a lot of electricity for the village. Be careful, you're talking about my jurisdiction. Be careful.
Just low rider.
Let's give you something else to do.
I got it.
What's that?
trade the streetlights for cemetery. Trade the streetlights for cemetery.
No way.
It's actually cleaning up pretty good. We have a couple of situations. Situations trying to figure out what we're gonna do.
Are they getting rid of all the excess stuff around the graves? It looked like they were.
They're trying to, it's just with.
People don't want to take them away once they put them. And they got those benches and, you
Yep.
know,
We
they
had,
don't want to move them.
we had somebody buy a brand new bench, put it there. We were handed policies and procedures, and
Yes, I heard about that.
it's kind of like, all right, here you go.
Well, I took some and gave them to our family because they tend to put too much stuff out there. And I said, you guys can't do it anymore. It's always been a policy, it's just now they're enforcing it.
We're trying to clean everything up, and
And you got 15 different things sitting around a grave, you gotta pick them up and move them just to know.
Did it work?
I mean, that's the hardest part right now, is they're trying to stay ahead of the game with
That's supposed to
mowing,
be guaranteed.
but they can't because of,
Apparently there's something with that.
they get one section done, and then they go on to the next one for mowing and trimming.
How'd the wrestling thing go last night?
I mean, it just.
I guess they had a good time. Just kids really enjoyed it. I mean, they're going to be in, I think it's the second Saturday of
Why don't they
every month.
advertise that?
They do.
They do.
Did you see the paper
It's on
yesterday?
Facebook.
Or the Sunday, or Saturday?
Record Herald had it.
Record Herald had it in there and everything.
She called and they're gonna start booking every month, second Saturday, so she's already booked for October, November, and December. She has to call me back because the second Saturday is already taken by Spokes for Folks.
Yeah.
So she's gonna call me back about that month, so.
How was the crowd?
Big time wrestling in Ohio.
I sold 8 tickets.
8 tickets.
Yeah,
Yeah, we sold 8.
we're supposed to get a buck apiece, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I told Jason. He
Yeah, they
told
sent
her.
me, she sent me an email saying that I think we owe the village $8. So,
So if you buy the tickets here, it saves you $2 because they're $10 on the door.
I guess the women's match was the best one.
Well, where did they sit?
Well, they have seats on both sides of the ring. They have seating on both sides of the ring. You're right up front. You're right up front. You get to watch every.
You're just gonna have to go to find out.
You're gonna watch every bounce, every foot to the face, every neck grind, the whole thing.
Danny, I'll go with you.
Will you?
I'll go with you next time. If I-
I mean, they actually get air off the top rope. They top rope it too. You're down to that jackhammer.
So if you hear anybody that wants to buy tickets, have them come here because we at least get $1 off every ticket, and they save $2.
Just can't imagine yours.
I know.
Oh,
No.
You never thought you would go.
Well,
It draws a special
Just so he
crowd.
would, yes, it does.
It draws a special crowd.
Yes, I can't.
we'd be special that night, Danny.
Where are you?
Huh?
Cleanest, dirty shirt.
Have you seen it?
Have you guys seen the people on there online?
Really?
Yeah, they set that thing up.
I know, she said it was there.
Yeah, just like it.
It's a breeze, I can't hear what she thought was awesome.
It's worth
did
it.
you go Saturday night? Just remember, if you buy tickets, it's cheaper to get them here.
Well, see, they kind of was advertising, they showed that, and then if you buy them, they had this package deal for like 4 for $20 or $25 or something. Something online. They got a Facebook page and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, Frank, maybe, maybe, didn't they used to do that many years back? They had a traveling WWF or whatever, they used to come here all the time.
They came there. Yep, years ago.
Well, wasn't there Martin Seaver, wasn't he like one of the big guys from Frankfurt?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's before my time.
Yes.
That's before my
Oh,
time.
well.
Is that right? Huh. So this kind of reminisces of the old times and past, right?
Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, there's a lot of fairs still going on too, so
Yeah.
Ross County Fair was going on, and until the fairs are over, people won't do a lot of other things.
Well, the locals are all done now.
Yeah.
Because that draws a special crowd too.
It brings out the riffraff.
You would know.
I do the first day, but just people watch.
I went to the truck pulls in Fayette County Fair. We like to watch the truck. Yeah, really loud. People are hooping and hollering in the stands. Having a good time.
Yep.
All I had to do was add alcohol and break.
That's what the beer garden's for.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be bad.
it would be terrible. Because some of them come in there with little to nothing on.
Food.
Yeah.
Oh, so Danny, are you there?
Danny's going. You're going, aren't you, Danny?
I'll be there.
Bring your camera. Yes, people watching is one of my favorite things.
Oh, we've seen everything out the first day booths.
It's kind of like,
Yep. Just walk across the street.
Wires are electronic. That way everybody just signs one thing and we know.
About another 10 minutes or so, we'll get this thing rolling a little faster here. Unfortunately, the issue is, you like to say, paying the bills takes a little time. Everybody, okay, you're still passing it
I'll
around.
get to Jackie and then I'll go.
There's one of that, well, no, that's not bad though.
Yeah, that's not.
Until it's summertime.
You got this one and then this one here.
Wait a minute.
Got page 57, which was the special meeting.
Oh, the
Public meeting, yeah.
Yes.
Oops.
expensive cell phone case. Since being up for cell phone, $80. Does that sound like Steve? It's made of gold.
It's okay. All right, it's okay. Hey, go save somebody's life.
Be safe doing it.
Yeah, don't get hurt, okay? Okay. 85.
Well,
Just at Westfall Middle School.
we have some service-oriented people here.
What is that? What is it, Westfall?
I heard the last one, Andy.
Yeah.
I'll take just a second.
Well, dead end at 207.
That's what, yeah.
Where's Westfall?
Westfall Middle School, 19546, here's the mic, 19546, there's the mic, at the ball field, practice field behind the school, 13-year-old male hospital dislocated shoulder,
Hello.
Westfall football.
School not even started yet, and you got a football injury.
Everybody here played football can relate with that call. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Some of these charges are ridiculous. It costs more to ship those post signs here than they pay for them.
Behave, kids. Behave, kids.
I guess I didn't have it. Oh, what's that? Staples.
That is true. That's okay. I appreciate that. It's really hard for you
Where's the spy camera? There's these hidden spy cameras.
They're in the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
Oh. Well, they're supposed to get something for down there. And I was going to buy myself, but it didn't happen. Oh, okay.
It's on you. It's lucky, man.
Jimmy. He's full of it.
Jimmy, stop.
Somebody was at it.
I got 4 more to put out. I haven't
Well,
done
they were
it
supposed
yet.
to get something down at school by the beliefs and stuff. And I even had their Bible. They said, oh, no, you were getting it. I should have. It's forever. So when these kids were trying to break in, they had a board up in there.
I mean, smoke everywhere. I mean, I could tell what the
Where at?
Vivian, is there internet in the store?
No. Flintstone.
Huh?
Heaven's no.
Wait, today?
Well,
That would require some money coming into the store I could pay for.
that's the only. Well, I know there's internet in the school.
Hmm. when they put that in.
Switched to telephone.
Okay, well then, we could
But,
probably,
There's
that's what
two.
it run, that's what these cameras run off of, is internet.
well, the ones I was gonna buy, they were from Arbor Freight, they were just little cheap cameras, but we could have seen, at least it would warded them off.
Well, if you, show me what they are, later,
Back to long lane, yeah, that's being
and I'll see about getting them.
Okay,
I wanna say Dan, what's his name?
Sam.
Sam. Sam. That first name for a long time.
Those lights, $1,100 a month?
That's
The
just
street lights,
Street lights.
yeah.
You're not taking very good care of them to get the price down there, Danny.
Actually, that's been reduced since they put the LEDs in. It was a whole lot more than that before they put them in. A little more.
No, it's a little more now because they
We didn't do
increased it.
anything. We're waiting on you to get
Oh, they
But
increased
it
the
did save
kilowatt
us when we
hours.
did it,
Yeah,
yes.
they increased the kilowatt hours, that's what it is.
For us, I just write down.
When they put the LEDs in there, they dropped the price, it was about $350, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, they increased the kilowatt hours, which now we're back to square one.
But it's supposed to come down, not go up.
Well, I don't know, an energy company doesn't check the prices every year. Anybody here does?
yeah, they'll call and offer you a reduced rate for 6 months, and then after that, it goes away.
Yeah.
I don't know which one, I leave money with that.
I'm just waiting to go back under $1 a gallon gasoline, everybody here too?
Yeah, whatever.
We'll never see that happen.
Parts for a chainsaw. $360 for parts for a chainsaw. You can buy a chainsaw for that whole thing.
Yeah, it was a different type of chainsaw.
Evidently.
You're talking about the cheapies, that's,
I don't know, it depends. You know. That's a lot of money. And I am cheap.
And we've been using the heck out of them.
Yeah. Yes. Trees. Thanks.
not quite.
Yeah, well, almost.
You'll work for that, Ken?
You've had this, right?
That night
Are the checks done there?
Night off.
Vivian?
Huh?
Oh, you didn't see the checks yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Huh?
Sitting at your,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted me to do those because.
No, go ahead. No,
Okay.
no.
Alrighty.
All good. I was just asking.
Yeah, they're. That's a stack.
Vivian's up, anybody ready for smoke?
Yeah, I still got this to go.
No. You're seated right now. You're going to have to get your Nicorette out.
Hey, if I can do it, you can do it.
Bullshit.
Easy,
I tried.
easy here on tape. Easy.
Misbehaving.
You should've went.
You're talking about somebody else misbehaving. Easy.
Front page.
There you go. Oh, I did not. No, okay.
I'll get it.
Where'd it go?
No, where's the?
What?
That's on here.
That's over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you guys get the financial report out of there? I think Greg laid it inside.
No, Danny.
you're right.
We'll do all of them. I'll bundle.
Sarah, just sign. Sarah,
Yeah.
just a check that.
That, Vivian, that top one is financial report.
These are everything I just looked at there.
See you again.
Yeah, this is.
Nice to meet you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get that too. That's your funds. form is like, tells all our funds, the balance, and unencumbered documents. Okay. And then the next to our revenues. Here is a summary of every fund of revenues. What our budget was, what our year-to-date is, and then this tells the percentage. And they're on both sides.
It'll come back eventually.
And then the appropriations summary for each fund, that's 1,000 general.
And so we need to look at all these. Yes, okay. And all this.
We're gonna
Yeah. Should have had that before tomorrow. Tomorrow, you know.
That's beside the point.
Should have done that one time, you know. Should have done it again.
Oh, we did look at
Did
it.
it, did it, did it. Did it, Jim?
But like the cemetery, I've got it at my desk, there's like about $4,000 left there. But I can't give them anymore because we only appropriated so much for the cemetery. Yeah, you don't know what you're gonna get in. So we only want to keep about $1,000.
All of these are supposed to be listed
But
here.
we'll have to increase the appropriations in order to
Oh,
pay it
okay.
down.
We need to kick that.
That's
out.
their check,
We can't
isn't it?
need it over there, where's
Okay.
we need it here. They're dire straits right now. That is for the gate hang.
You have to check ones on.
That's a valve that we have to, start softening the water again, that was a valve assembly that we had to have, and the float assembly and all that stuff, yeah, we got all that stuff in. Actually, Joey's got a picture of it all, it's all installed, and Randy went over there and checked it out today, the new valve and ball.
We looked at it, and I gotta do some research for him.
Okay. I have everything.
Oh, you?
Yeah, okay.
Good. I guess I don't have to do any research.
They sent it to me when they sent they sent out all the invoicing and stuff, yeah, but
Okay.
You've been waiting for that assembly for almost 18 months. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy Kleskoff wanted this evening, so.
These all add up to this amount. Greg's still busy too, so.
She's not on council for an hour, and she's ready putting the buck on it, Greg.
He's still busy. Okay, what's this? There's no check here.
That had to be to the bank, and I'm authorized by resolution to pay him, so we don't
That's what she
pay late
mentioned.
charges.
That's when she mentioned with Greg, that's about her.
Oh, that's the same one.
They're not done yet.
No. They'll be back on Wednesday.
Oh, that's only a drip in the bucket.
Yep.
That's for what they were doing down there when I emailed them the minutes and all that.
Checks is what you would put in here. The roads come up to those, the roads are those.
If they're doing that, never mind. Chainsaw stuff like that, I thought was expensive chainsaws.
See, that's all the checks for, like this stuff.
Consider down 77.
I remember looked at it, it was froze up.
Oh, with the outside unit, it's not spinning anymore?
Yeah, but everything inside froze up, that's probably why it's not
Oh.
working like it should.
We just had that fixed here a couple
Yeah,
months back.
About this.
capacitor, they put
Yes.
in.
I guess we didn't call the right people.
Talking about the air conditioner.
Yeah.
And see, I'm freezing, my feet are even cold.
Freezing.
How can you be freezing at
I don't
77 degrees
know,
in
because I
here?
am so,
You're cold?
well, I'm sick
I'm
too,
just
so that didn't help.
Kind of warming up right now. Ask Joey how cold I was.
I've been sick since the 17th. I'm on my third different kind of medicine,
77, is it? It's going
and
up.
it's not
What, 76, wasn't it?
75.
real well.
You know what? I mean, with open doors and windows. That's how it used to be, open doors and windows.
Yeah, have you opened that? It'll suck it through.
You know what?
The door.
It's nice and quiet now. As soon as we open that door, 30 semis will come past here.
Yeah.
And all the kids will be out there cursing,
Where you going, Jim?
opening the door. Hot.
Is it any cooler out there?
You don't feel like it.
What do they say? Doesn't matter. That happened about 3 months ago, same thing, didn't it? I think it was a capacitor last time went out in the outside unit.
The flux
The
capacitor,
fan wasn't spinning fast enough.
back to.
Put a new one in it, and it's been working great all summer until tonight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, there's the first one, 29 more to go, right? Anybody see all that smoke in town today?
What is that?
I
It
guess
was
they had a hell of a
bad.
fire down in Frankfurt.
Because we could smell it really bad at the
Frankfurt.
house.
That was in
I know what it
Frankfurt.
was.
Yep, down there behind the Amish store down there, with it 138, is that 138 down there? Yeah, behind there, it was a big old field fire.
Wow.
I was going to say, how could it be a field fire as wet it's been? Either that or some farmer rolled up some wet hay. That usually gets it going, doesn't it?
Somebody said it was a house fire.
It smelled
Oh,
like
it didn't look like
wood
a
burning.
house. No, it was a field fire. It didn't look like no house fire.
It was white smoke. It was all over the place. See it? Does anybody else need these? You haven't had them?
No, what about Mike?
Oh, oh, you had these. I was in this thing.
Did you sign this paper? You guys aren't signing that paper.
Oh, wow.
That's for the bills. That's your financial reports.
Why didn't you sign it?
Nobody else did, so I did.
Yeah, we did. You know, I don't really understand this thing just right now. I don't know exactly. I don't really know what I'm looking at.
I really wish the UAN would be able to let us do our own spreadsheets. Unfortunately, you can't do our own spreadsheets off the UAN. That's what makes it so hard to read.
Well, you can import it to Excel, but it's a mess. You gotta do too much monkey around.
Yeah, I don't want it to.
You
I
can.
don't know what I'm looking at. He's got a sign.
He's gotta
Oh,
sign
you got to
it.
sign, okay.
He signed it.
No.
Oh, they're on town.
Is there still phones in the park?
And what?
The park? They still have money?
Yeah. Park is 2041.
Find your phone.
It's 21.
You know, you're gonna have a mess down there in front of the post office, aren't you?
That's your revenue that's coming in.
That's
what we're
He's
gonna
got
do all the
some
same day.
taxes, so we're at
That's gonna be
110% of
jacked
what we budgeted.
And then the community center has 116% still?
Or you?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we brought in. What we
That's about it.
budgeted.
Yeah. What are we gonna do about that rain?
I'm going to put back.
I thought we were just going up to the ramp. I thought we were just going up to the ramp.
You measured it, didn't you?
Huh?
Did you measure it?
I measured to the ramp. I did measure the ramp itself.
You already did that for the checks, right? Right.
Yeah, I suppose they could afford to pay for their own, didn't they?
Everyone's still going?
Unclaimed money. I'd like to find some unclaimed money. I'd like to find some unclaimed money.
Oh,
How far do you think you get?
I'm gonna look down in there as far as I can see.
Some say it's just a clean in the carpet shop, and some of us say it's clear.
Go ahead, because I could go to the bathroom.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we were able to measure my back, from the back towards the carpet shop, like 12 feet.
and letting the flies in.
God, it actually
Like 12.
went up
Big
3
fly
degrees.
just
It went up.
Went up 3 degrees in here.
This is ridiculous. It's hot.
I feel the breeze coming
I
in.
feel a little bit, yeah,
10 foot deep.
but it's really hot.
Going down with it.
Well, we'll just have to call them Akron
Yeah,
boys.
suck it through.
Could be another one. Just catch
And then who work for Akron?
Really?
Accurate, Rick?
Yeah. You can call the Akron guys, go in there and get it right.
So it's like that ports of that, or that gravel and stuff in there.
Ain't that cold?
This goes with the, yeah.
Area.
Some old guys are displaying it.
I'll get on my Sean.
I don't know. Well, I'm wondering if
Johnny.
Oh, is that right? I blew it.
Big left.
She wasn't ready.
Yeah, big's going.
And 8 minutes. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it doesn't probably that better.
And Mary.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there was some money to be had by all right there.
We still have your emergency water supply, but if you need it for something.
With this plate for us.
I mean, they be.
I mean,
I think that's what it's known for.
when he got drug, you opened the car door in order to get in.
Don't see that anymore.
No.
Maybe.
Oh, best. That was for the best. Yeah. Thought that's what it's for.
Yeah.
I'm pretty nice dust too.
Saved us some money.
The grade is off so bad. I mean, it's almost impossible to figure out what to do with it. So we may end up having to.
We had to run that counter, okay.
I always make a bigger purchase order. If we knew how many, you know, they just,
Yeah, we don't pay too often now.
it's ridiculous to pay $4.50. Yeah.
Well, what you do is get about 5 canisters. You go there on Friday, you spend like $10. You know, we're going all up and you get rounds.
Yeah. though.
Yeah.
We're figuring the concrete is gonna come clear up to the bottom.
They don't advertise that anymore either. They used to have that sign out front.
At least a foot.
On front of it. They haven't done that for a
I kinda
while.
like that too.
Oh, so you come up to the
I think he's
alley.
a turning feet out of it.
That left road.
Yeah.
What?
That's not some.
Then how you gonna do the alley?
Got
Well,
last
that's
couple
what I'm
of them pretty good.
saying. It'll come in like this when it's paved. So it'll meet it. Because it's gonna be raised up. And
That's just like on,
If you look
I think it was
at it,
on Friday, you can get
to see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
your LP tank filled
I mean, it's a mess.
for a lot less.
Yeah, front, yeah, they still do that. They don't advertise it anymore.
Box.
Yeah, they do it on Friday.
Yeah.
Was it a 5-pounder they do over there for $10? Buckeye propane, they put them in a 5-pounder?
No, just
Yeah, it's like
20.
$10, isn't it?
Just one is,
Was it,
Yeah.
why is there two catch basins?
5-pounder.
yeah, you can go get 20s.
You mean the
Mike
front
used to
one
always
and
go up
then-
there and keep the spare one
Yeah,
filled.
Because I have 230s on my
But
camper and they even
the one in the
do on
front
that too on
is a lot
Fridays.
smaller.
That's right, the R20, the smaller ones are 20.
But they're talking about putting Mike a drain across the road.
Well,
Like that. Because of the way that the grade is, it's gonna end up going like, kinda like that. See what I'm saying? It's going all around, you know, in one spot.
yeah, I see what you're doing, you're running the water down to my house,
No, it'll run into the catch basin.
Right through your front door.
right down that alley, I know. Yeah.
No, Tom's worried about that too, but, I mean, that's not the intent at all.
Oh.
That Pennsylvania should have a catch basin on both sides, this will be Pennsylvania, and then it should have curb and gutter,
Yeah.
which is should catch all the water now, and that's why I was talking about that pipe. But there should be catch basin on this side and catch basin on this side.
It's the engineering
So you can't really,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
was gonna say, I better put my house up to sale real quick.
And then we're going to try to get them the rest here next month or so.
I'll
Yeah,
make sure
so,
that it.
well,
Yeah.
we have to wait until I can get it certified.
Even if we have to do something to raise that whole out of it. You know what I mean?
That'd be a pretty good find.
It'll
That what you got there?
It's a gradual of Maine.
Okay, everybody got everything ready to go here?
Yep.
All right,
I'll make a motion.
make a motion done by Danny. And a second,
I'll do it.
Jackie. And accept the bills would be Greg,
Yep.
Jackie,
Yes.
Danny,
Yep.
Vivian,
Yes.
and Jimmy.
Okay, as you can see, the auditor has been here the last 2 weeks for a total of 5 days. And they may be back this Wednesday, and it seems to be going pretty good. I've learned a few things, but they're just administrative. Also, I didn't have it on there, but the police had received a donation from New Holland Engineering in the amount of $1,000. And Jason would like to purchase 2 rifles for the cruisers. We could have shotguns rather than get.
Close that door, Jimmy, would you please? I asked Jimmy to close the door because I couldn't hear what you're saying.
Okay. They got a donation of $1,000 from New Holland Engineering for the police department. And we really need to get some shotguns to put in the cruisers because we had a bad situation here last Thursday. And I mean, he's out there with a pistol and marshals are out there with shotguns. Anyways, they should have them in the car. So he would like to get 2 of them at the cost of $700, and then he'll also need ammo.
Is that 700 for 2?
2 guns. Yeah, through Vance's.
We looking at 870s.
Yeah, they got some trade-ins. He said he has 2 pretty nice ones. He said, but for $700, we could probably get 2 new ones. We're getting ready to have some kind of sale because hunting season's getting ready to start.
Okay,
So do we need to get a motion to do that, or?
Do we have to make a motion on that?
I wouldn't think so. That's police equipment that, that would be straight on a PO. It would come from the chief to the,
And it is their donation.
yeah, and it is a donation. It is their money. But, in all reality, it couldn't hurt to have a motion placed on the table in a second.
But it's their money to spend.
Yes, it is their money to spend. It won't hurt to put a motion on the table.
To, what?
To approve the purchase.
Of them to I'll make a motion.
Okay.
To spend $1,000.
Well, at least buy shotguns. To buy shotguns and appropriate ammunition.
Okay.
Okay?
Somebody second.
Hold on a second. Let me get this here. Second. No. Okay, Danny Patrick firsted it.
Yep.
And Jackie seconded it. Okay, guess that's right. Buy shotguns and ammo. Okay, Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yep.
Vivian?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yep.
Motion passes. All right, let's go into legislation. Here's where we meat the potatoes, people. All right.
Okay, ordinance 2712 to change the traffic speeds on West Front Street for the safety of the residents and traveling public of the village of New Holland and declaring it to be an emergency.
Okay. We'll go with the table discussion on that now. Okay. With the situation with the Dollar General going in, we need to have 25 speed a little bit further down, closer towards Circle Avenue. So what we're asking for legislation to go is, it'll be where it's existing 25 out here right before the curb. It would go 25 from there down to Circle Avenue. Okay, and then the 35 would extend from Circle Avenue out to the edge of the village limits. And then it would exceed out to 50. However, even though we pass this as an emergency, it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away, because we still have to go to ODOT. Okay, yet they have to approve it. So the reason it's an emergency for us is that shopping, the general dollar will probably be open before we even hear anything back from ODOT. Okay, so basically how that would work is, like I said, from where it's already 25, we're only extending it about, 400 yards? Maybe 400 yards would be an extra 24 miles an hour up to the top of Circle Avenue. And then from Circle Avenue out to the village limits, which was about a quarter of a mile, would revert back to 35. And then it would be up to ODOT to drop it down from 55 to 50 for another quarter mile out. So it'd be quarter mile 50, then the 35 to Circle, then the 25 to right here by the store where it's 25, and then it would pick back up to 35 again, and then on out to 50. And the reason being is we got that blind curve. If you're going westbound out of New Holland going on 22, when you go around that curve, well, we all know, they decided where the property they purchased put that exit ramp right there at the bottom of that hill, right there in that blind curve. So if you're going 35 miles an hour, you come around that curve, and somebody's a truck backing in or somebody's coming out. Could be an accident situation, so that's where it's at. So again, nothing's changing, from the church this way. It's just from the church down to Circle Avenue village limits.
Both ways.
Both ways. Both ways. Yes.
That's 25 past the bridge to the...
Yes. So right where it's 25 at, right there at the
25 to the county line.
Right there at the church.
Yeah.
Down to the top of Circle Avenue.
Oh, to the top of Circle.
Right, the top of Circle Avenue.
County line.
Yeah.
All the way to
the county, just about the county line. Exactly, you're right. Exactly the county line. And then from there out to the village limits would be 35. So you're only changing the speed in about not even a half mile of roadway for the safety of the public and the safety of everybody coming in and out of there. So that's But we have to do that proposal because we've got to get it to ODOT, and ODOT has to come out and say yay or nay. Even though we passed an ordinance, doesn't mean that they're going to let us do it because it's their roadway. So.
And they have the right to set the speed.
We have the right to set the speed inside the municipality, but the issue being is they don't like to drop speed more than 10 miles an hour outside of the municipality. So if we're looking at 35 at the village limits, that means they have to drop it from 55 to 50. They'd have to drive 5 mile an hour off the speed limit for a quarter mile. Because that's the way they do a quarter mile, and then the speed change, a quarter mile and a speed change. You just can't go from 55 to 35. Just can't do that. You can't do a 20 mile an hour speed change and like that. That creates more problems than it's worth. So we have to work with the ODOT on that. And like I said, they may approve it, and again, they may not. And it's completely up to them. It's their roadway, but we do have the right to regulate it inside the village for the safety of the traveling public. Okay?
I'll put the motion in.
Okay. So that's what that's all about. Any table discussion on that? Okay. So, I'd like to motion to suspend the reading.
Guys.
See you guys. Thank you. Motion to suspend the reading. Jim?
Yeah.
In a second.
Me. I'll do it.
And Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
And Danny?
Yep.
Vivian?
Yes.
And Jimmy?
Yep.
Okay, motion approved.
Yes.
In a second.
I'll second.
Jackie? And Greg?
Yeah.
And Jackie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yep.
Vivian?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yep.
Okay, next.
Vivian, on here, I'm just gonna line out Dwayne. You wanna print your name and then sign it.
Me. Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Okay, resolution 2017 R14, declaring the official intent and reasonable expectation of the Village of New Holland on behalf of the State of Ohio, the Village of New Holland to reimburse its Fund 4902 for the North Main Street improvements 2017, CQ 41U and CQ 42U, with the proceeds of tax-exempt debt of the State of Ohio and declaring this to be emergency. This has to go to the OPWC.
Right.
Do we already have a 4902 fund?
Yes, and I'm passing it. I got a resolution about setting it up. That's
So we don't actually have a 4902 fund right now?
yes, we
And you're
do.
welcome. No, we haven't passed the
I
resolution.
know we haven't, but I didn't know that until we got audited, because I got a letter, bulletin from the auditor of state says if you're getting money from the OPWC, you need to set it up under 4,900 accounts for capital improvements. And that's what I did. It says does not need to be approved. But the auditor said that I should approve them funds just to do it.
So you got the ordinances out of order?
No.
Why?
This is just for them.
I'm a little confused here.
Well, I guess they are. According to the auditor of state, I don't have to get them approved by council for 4,900 funds. Okay? Last year we set up 4,901 for the spiral screen project, and that's when I discovered the bulletin that said we had to do that, and it said it doesn't need approval. It's a state order.
Okay.
So she agreed with it, but she said from now on I would just let council know all funds that you're going to open.
Okay. So the way you got it written here, the ordinance is for the Village of New Holland to reimburse its 4902 fund
Yeah.
for North Main Street. Then 2 ordinances later, it says to establish a new fund.
Yeah. It's covering my ass.
Okay. I'm just trying to get some clarification here
Yeah.
because it don't make any sense to me
Yeah,
to reimburse a fund that ain't even created yet.
Well, if you want to, then why don't we just go ahead and table that? Go ahead and go back to the resolution,
Okay.
okay? And then we'll come, and then bring this back on the table. Can I get a motion to table?
Table what?
Table what we're reading right now?
Yeah, table it.
And second the table? Okay, Vivian? Okay. And then you can go ahead and do 17, 16.
Okay, resolution 2017 R16 authorizing the fiscal officer to establish new funds 2081 for the police and capital improvement fund 4902 for the North Main Street improvement and declaring it to be an emergency.
Okay. Now,
We need to see table discussion.
yeah, the fund 2081 for the police, where's that money come from?
That's coming from,
To fund that fund?
Donations for the
Donation?
police. It's a
Huh?
police fund.
Strictly donations?
Right now, yeah, if we would get a levy at some point
So
like we
this
used
is,
to
you're
have.
creating this 2081 fund so Jason can put his $1,000 in there that John was nice enough to donate to the police department, and then he can spend that.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's feeding the 4902 fund?
What happens is the amount that we have to pay our share of the street project, which is what? Some of it's going to be in kind, but we still have to include that.
Yeah, it looks like right now we're gonna be able to cover it all with the in-kind. It looks like it's just a little over 16,000.
Okay, so what I would have to do, say we weren't doing the in-kind work, I would have to transfer the 16,000, our share, into 4901, which I'd have to do a resolution for it. Then I have to pay the bills with that money, our share of the invoices, which we've already been paying.
You mean 4902, right?
Yes.
You said 4901, but
I'm
I
sorry.
figured that's what you meant. Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
And then every time the contractor submits a payment,
Right.
OPWC sends me a letter and says we paid it. Then I have to do an electronic receipt for that amount of money that they paid. And then I have to do an electronic payment to pay them. You have to run it through the system because this is a capital improvement. So at the end of the year, you have to show your capital improvement. And then we'll have our loan for it to pay back.
And just so I'm clear, the 2081 fund that's going to be created, you're going to establish a new fund called 2081, and it's for the police department, and it's fed exclusively from donations.
At this point.
Okay.
But if we would ever go for a levy like we used to have, that's where it'd have to be deposited, would be into there.
Okay.
Into that fund.
Into that fund.
because if I remember correctly, the old police department, we had a safety levy. It was a 1 mil safety levy, I remember.
0.5.
It was a 0.5 mil safety levy, and it expired 5 years after the department was debunked. Actually, it was expired as soon as they authorized, the council authorized the debunking of the police department, and that was done. And actually, taxpayer benefit, their taxes went down 0.5%, for 0.5 mils.
For that levy, yeah.
For that levy. Okay, so a motion to suspend the readings on
I make a motion to suspend the reading of Resolution 2017 R16.
Okay.
Second it.
Jimmy? Okay, Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny? Yep. Vivian?
Yes.
And Jim?
Yep.
Motion approved.
Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah.
Second?
Yep.
Jimmy? And Greg?
What?
Yes, no?
Yes, no what?
You approve?
Yeah.
Yep. Jackie?
Yes.
Danny? Yep. Vivian?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yep.
Who made the motion to approve?
You did.
Okay. I made the motion to suspend.
Yeah, you did that too.
Who seconded it, please?
It was second by
Jimmy, don't
Jimmy.
vote.
Jimmy and both.
Okay.
Okay, let's bring back off the table. Or bring it back on the table again. 2017-12. Or not, I'm sorry, 2017-14. Did you want to read it again, everybody on council, or we want to just go ahead and suspend?
I don't need it read again.
Okay, anybody else need it read again? Okay, motion to suspend? Yeah.
Suspend.
Who said that, Danny?
Danny, one second.
I'll second it.
Okay. And Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny? Yep. Vivian?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2017-14.
Okay, got it. In a second.
Yep.
Jimmy? And Greg?
Yep.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny? Yep. Vivian?
Yes.
Jimmy? R15 now.
Okay. Resolution 2017 R15, authorizing the chief executive officer and the chief financial officer to apply for, accept, and enter into a cooperative agreement for construction of wastewater treatment plant influence green project between the Village of New Holland and the Ohio Water Development Authority and declaring an emergency.
You want to table discussion on this?
Can you give us any input?
Yep, I can give you some input. That's what I was hoping for. Basically, we got the grant. Everybody knows we already got the grant. Now we're at the process. We're starting the bidding. They had some problems with the engineering on it. There was a building that had to be actually spec'd out, and Joe spec'd out the building. Well, they originally spec'd out a fiberglass building to cover the spiral screen. Well, the EPA stepped in and said, whoa, wait a minute. It can't be a fiberglass building. It can't be a pole building. It can't be anything like that. It has to be a block, bomb-proof building. And I was ready to drop my BS card on that. And then they explained to me why. And then it made perfect freaking sense. Well, what does human waste produce? What type of gas? Methane. Okay, along with what gets poured down the drains time to time, gasoline and other solvents and cleaning materials and stuff like that, that envelop in with the methane gas that develops in the effluent, because that's all the stuff that's coming in through the sewers. That's all the raw waste, and that's all the original methane. When you drop down the doors in the wintertime to keep the spiral stream from freezing, guess what you bring inside? And at any time, the spiral stream, when it comes on and turns off, creates a spark. And guess what you have? So, well, as soon as I pulled my card up off the table and put it in my pocket and cried, I'm stupid, okay, because I was trying to understand why we had to have a $100,000 building. Now I understand why. Okay, now Joe was working on that, and he was working on that whole particular portion of that. Of course, when he passed, he didn't pass that information on to myself. Jason didn't get that information. However, he had been working all that stuff with Chris and all the people at Strand. So they were all in the works and all was done. And of course, when we found out, wait a minute, whoa, nobody. Well, unfortunately, that's how it has to be. Now, the reason building cost, it has to have blast doors that actually give away. Okay, they have to be roll-up doors where in the winter and times when you have weather that cooperates when it's not 20 below zero, which we get here occasionally, that you can keep the doors open and the air just takes away and wafts it all away and it goes away. But in wintertime, when it goes below 30 degrees, we got to drop the doors to keep that equipment. Of course, you're talking about a $200,000 piece of equipment. Well, you don't want that $200,000 piece of equipment freezing up and breaking because it actually washes out. It uses water to circulate all the solids out of the human waste. So now we have a better idea why that project is costing a little more than it is, and you understand why and where we're at, why we hadn't got the bids done until now. Of course, when Joe passed, kind of things went on hold for about 60 days trying to figure out what we were doing, where we're going. Now we're back on track, and now we know what we're doing, and now we're at the time now it's time to open up the bids, and it's being bidded out. Okay, so everybody understand why. It's not, it looks like an emergency here, but the thing is everybody knows exactly where we've been on this. You know, Danny, you've been here for a while, Greg, you've been here for a while, Vivian, you've been up to date, you know, kind of what's going on, Jimmy too. That, you know, that spiral lift is something that we got a grant 2 years ago for, and we're just waiting for the appropriate time to do the engineering and get it in the ground and get it in operation. So that's where we're at. And they're hoping to have that in operation before winter.
Yeah, they want to get the bidding done and that by the 1st of September so they can start.
Right. Okay, so everybody understands, a little clearer on this one?
What's the Ohio Water Development Authority's,
That's who Strand is going through?
OPWC doesn't have any more money.
Right. So we're getting it from a different agency inside the state.
grant money?
Yeah.
No,
Well, some of it's grant money.
not on this building.
Oh, not on the building. I'm sorry, not on the building. You're right. Not on the building.
It's 0.64 interest. 116,000 is what they're projecting, but we won't know the actual amount until the bids come in.
The total cost of the project without the building was still over $300,000.
Yes.
So we have to protect our investment. And that's basically where Strand came in, and basically EPA all understands, so that's what we're doing. We're protecting our investment by actually building this building around it.
We tried to do in-kind on it, and they wouldn't let us do any kind of in-kind on that project.
Okay, so everybody have a little more understanding. Is there any other questions or any other thing that need to be put on the
So
table?
it's an emergency, you need an emergency declaration to just get bids?
Yes, to get the bids.
Yes. Because we have to get the funding through OWDA. They gotta have this so they can approve the funding and then they can go out for the bids.
They won't bid the project without it.
No.
They have to protect their investment too.
But the total is like $300,000 total.
What, as far as what our contribution is what
Our contribution was 12,000 and something, but now we're gonna have to pay for this loan for the building. Yeah.
We don't really know for sure, Danny. The Main Street project,
Yep.
it came in at over 100,000 less than what they projected it.
Well, can we use that for this?
We
No,
love
I'm
to.
trying to use it to keep on with the street repairs, and they won't do that either.
You got to remember, you're dealing with taxpayers' money.
Yeah. I thought I'd ask.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not cheap to run your own sewer plant. It's not cheap to run your own water plant. You know, of course, as you know, we last administrations weren't very kind to the village when they made some of the rulings they did in the past. They didn't have the foresight or forward thinking of what was going to happen 20 years when what they authorized 20 years ago was going to start breaking down. They didn't have maintenance funds. They didn't pay anything forward. All they wanted to do is kick the can down the street. Unfortunately, that's what happens. As we all know, the EPA is going to regulate us anyway. If we don't do the spiral screen, they're going to come back and say you're going to build it anyway, and you're not going to have any loan money to do it. So if we keep kicking the can down the street, eventually it's going to catch up with us.
It needs to come to head.
Yeah. And unfortunately, just like what happened in 2002, was it 2002, when the EPA came out and told us that you will make these modifications on the sewer plant, and basically the administration at the time told them to go pound sand. That cost us, what, almost $2 million? And they're still paying those loans off. They're still up there. And that was back in 2003. So EPA, as we know, they carry a big stick. And they hit you big with it too. They don't walk softly. So we're just trying, at this point, trying to get ahead of the, where they're going to be here in the next couple of years, because they're going to be there. Anytime that you have solids inside of human waste, and for the people out here, I'm not going to get gross and disgusting for you, but women's applicators, Pez dispensers, little Hot Wheel toys, handy wipes, diapers, all kinds of stuff that come through there are not allowed to be mixed in with human waste anymore that's going out to rendering. Because when they send them to the rendering plant, what they do is they bake that stuff, they put it under intense heat, and then take the water out and turn it to ash. Well, if you got plastics and stuff like that and you're creating a carcinogen, letting it into the air, EPA frowns on that. So that's what the spiral lift is all about. That's the best I can explain it.
So this here we're passing, this resolution you want to pass covers the screen in the building.
Yes.
That's all he needs to say.
Yes. It encompasses everything. It gives them the go-ahead for the complete project to go to bid. Because they're ponying up the money for the spiral screen and the engineering and stuff. We just have to pony money up for the building. Because they're not going to authorize that unless we protect their interest in it too. Does that make sense?
I make a motion to suspend the reading of Resolution 2017 R15.
Second it.
And Greg?
Yep.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yeah.
Vivian?
Yes.
And Jimmy?
Yep.
And a motion to approve?
Yep.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay. Second?
Yeah.
Vivian? Okay.
Yeah, Danny.
It was Danny.
Was it Danny?
It don't matter.
Gotcha. Okay.
It does matter.
It does matter.
It's official record.
Danny K. Okay. Greg?
Yep.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yeah.
Vivian?
Yes.
Jimmy? I wish Joe would have been here to explain it to you. He would have explained it a little bit better. Okay. Last one, or second to last one.
Okay. Resolution 2017 R17, authorizing the fiscal officer to deposit funds received from the clerk of courts into the general fund and declaring this emergency. Basically what this one is, as you know, we haven't transferred any of the fines, and we set this up according to the ORC. Shannon has to pay the state and the munis. Then everything that's left, she has to empty out to us the first of every month.
Where's it been emptying out to?
It hasn't. She's still got it in her checking account.
We finally got clarification from the auditor's office.
The clerk of court's checking account, right?
Yes, and that gets paid. She writes a check to the village, and I deposit it into the general fund.
So you're just trying to bypass you and you want to deposit it directly into the general fund?
No, that's where I have to put it, where I put it. It'll be under fines and forfeitures. So we'll know at all times how much we got from the police department.
That's basically the same thing we do with the penalties from the water.
Yeah.
You know, wastewater and water, you know, when every time we get penalties, it all goes into the general fund.
To be used for whatever.
Well, it'll support their budget for next year because it'll
Right.
stay under general fund.
Motion.
Any other table discussion? Is there a motion?
Yep.
Okay.
This is to
Is this
suspend.
Yep. Second?
Yep.
And Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yep.
Vivian?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yep.
Anything we're saying.
And motion approved?
Yep.
Okay. Second?
Yes.
Okay. And Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yep.
Vivian?
Yes.
And Jimmy? Okay, and what I'd like to do now, bring back on the table 2017-06.
Third reading.
I'd like to get a motion, bring it back on the table.
I'll make a motion, bring 2017-06 back to the table.
Second?
Yeah.
Who yipped it?
Good, good.
You
Jim.
did? Okay. Okay, go ahead, Amos. Or you want me to read it?
Oh, they got to vote.
Got to vote.
I was going to vote on it. I was going to say Greg. I'm sorry, Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yep.
Vivian? Jimmy?
Yep.
Sorry about that. 2 steps ahead of myself.
Okay, ordinance 2017-06 amends section 7 of ordinance 2011-20, regulating the exterior structure and property areas of the village of New Holland. And this would make it the third reading.
Of course, as you know, I'll start the table discussion on that. I had sent that to the solicitor. Solicitor looked it over. Of course, most of the stuff goes to the solicitor and that stuff. He looked the whole thing over, and he said there was a lot of stuff that needed to be changed. There was a lot of vague language in it. A lot of the vague language got taken out of it, and we adopted the ORC codes. We put all the codes in the particular sections. Everybody, before they leave here tonight, will get a copy of it. Okay, because I want, the people in the village are going to be upset with some of what's in there. Okay, but unfortunately, it's for the betterment of everybody in the village. And, we can't have what we've got going on in town here. We've got too many blighted houses, too many blighted properties right here, and these people need to take charge of what they've got and make sure that things are being handled properly in their particular places of abode, shall we say. So if you've got 50 junk cars laying in your yard, or if you got half your windows knocked out of your house, you've got a door that's unsecured, you got trash, guess what? There's an ordinance now that's going to be regulating all that stuff. If you read the regulation in there, our officers will actually be able to go out and cite people for unsightly situations. And you'll see it inside the ordinance where there's actually a two-piece citation. The police department is going to be working up how we got that. The first citation will be given to the individual in violation, and they will be given 14 days to clean up. At the end of 14 days, the officers will go out, or the zoning board member or council member can go out and look at the property. If it is not cleaned up, then the second one will order them into magistrate court, or order them into the council, or order them into the zoning board, whichever one is appropriate for whatever the violation is. So we covered all the bases on that. If you get somebody that just absolutely is not going to clean up the yard and is going to stop and quagmire and, we're done arguing with people trying to tell them to clean up the yards, then what happens, they'll find themselves standing in front of the magistrate down there, and the magistrate's going to ask them, why not? Why aren't you going to clean up your yard? Why aren't you going to move your junk car? Why aren't you going to fix your house?
What happens if they don't show up for court?
If they don't show up for court, well, you can't be arrested for this. This is a non-arrestable offense. Okay? But it will be $100 a day and $100 per day for every day that you decide not to clean your yard after judgment. So that's going to be up to the magistrate. The magistrate says, you know what? He didn't show up here today, so, Chief, get out there, handle that citation. And if he still doesn't do it, guess what? He'll start accruing a fine. And it'll be every day for every day, $100 a day for every day that he doesn't do what he's supposed to be doing. So with that said, that's basically the meat of the potato of that. There's also a provision inside this that it's an emergency situation. Things happen. People's houses catch on fire, burns down, or with these blighted houses. Let's take Cedric Reed's property down the street here. That place was to catch on fire because vandals went in there and set them on fire. We're stuck with it. Nobody's going to come and we're stuck with it. What are we going to do? Well, we have to secure it. Who's going to pay for that? Guess what? Let's go back to the property owner. We have to board up the windows. What if we have to tear it down? What are we going to do? Okay, so basically we have a situation here. We got too many blighted houses in this community. This community is better than what it can be. And I was happy to see that Fayette County actually went out and condemned a building that really absolutely needed to be condemned. At least we're starting to work with our county partners, okay, getting this stuff taken care of. But before we can go further into the land banks of the county and stuff with these properties, we have to pass these ordinances to make these people get their properties in order. And that's for all those landlords that they're happy they got 15 properties and they got 15 people paying rent. But they don't care that their 15 people have cars, mattresses, couches on the front porch. They don't care that there's 4 weeks of trash laying in the front yard for pickup. They don't care about that. And when, in the past, when I sent them a nice letter, you need to go out there, you got 5 days to clean up your mess, or we're going to come clean it up and we're going to abate your property. And then I got people coming in here threatening to shoot me in the face because I told them to clean up the property. That gets a little old. So now we're in that position now that we have to go forward with this. We have a magistrate court, we have a police department. Let's let them do their jobs. Let us not get involved in this. The zoning board does a good job. They do a good job of making sure that the proper use of the land and the proper use of land is being adhered to. The zoning board's not going to come here because that's where it's going to go. Sooner or later, after the magistrate's done with them, then it's going to come to the zoning board and they're going to hammer them. I know what the zoning board's going to do. I already know what the zoning board's going to do. And unfortunately, who's on the hook for the cleanup? We are.
So what are they going to do with 34 Allen then? Somebody going to tear it down?
The county, that's what they, in fact, the order basically says they're going to tear it down and send it down all off to the nearest landfill, which would probably be their landfill.
Yeah.
See, so, you know where that's at? And who knows, maybe they came up with an acceptable bond. Maybe they paid that bond and maybe, don't know. Maybe they're going to bring it up to code, repurchase the property. I don't know.
Can I have a date of that?
There is no date on that yet.
There is no date?
And that's the health department's regulation. There is no date on that. Okay? It could be a year, it could be 2 years. Who knows?
No, I just
Yeah.
living across from them, I know, and see what all's going on. And
Yeah, it's that blighted property down there is really a mess.
like, because the sign's off.
Her brother gave it to her.
Like HHR.
So
Her brother gave it to her.
everybody on the council understands where we're going with that. Okay, and this is something that I asked the council about 6 months ago. How do you want me to go forward with this? And everybody was agreeing we need to go forward with this. Sent it off to the solicitor. He went through it with fine tooth comb and said, these are the things you have. You got a car up in block. It's been up on blocks for 6 months. If you're restoring that car, why is it sitting on block for 6 months? It needs to be in the garage, getting the fenders peeled off of it, getting ready to put a new motor in and stuff like that. If it's been sitting out there for 5 years, is he really restoring that car? So, I mean, everybody here sitting at this table has drove past those houses. So it's time to, I'm not going to argue with them anymore. Let the magistrate argue with them. So that's where we're at on that. Once it's approved, I'll make sure everybody has a copy of that when you walk out the door. So if anybody has any questions, well, what does it say? It says right here, if your house is missing half of its siding, guess what? You need to get it fixed. If you're missing 3 windows and they're broken out, and they've been broken out for the last 6 months, you need to get them fixed. Okay? If you got 5 junkyard cars in your yard, they have to have registrations on them, or else, guess what? You got to get them gone. You got to put them behind a fence. You got to put them in a building. They can't be seen by anybody. Even cover them up. But even in the provision, it says in there, if you got a project, it says in there for people who like to restore cars, that's all it's an excuse. Well, I'm restoring all those cars out there. Okay, you got 15 cars out there on property and you're restoring all 15. Well, guess what? You need to get down to Bureau of Motor Vehicle, get a registration title for every one of them. And you make sure you have a registration title every one of them, or we'll start hooking them. I hate to be that way, but unfortunately, I'm not getting anywhere being nice to them.
They have to be tagged also.
They have to be tagged. And there is provisions in there. If they're restored, you're allowed to keep it in your garage, keep it behind the fence, and it can be covered. But if you're going to leave it in the open, that everybody can see it, then it needs to have a tag on it. And that's a current registration with a current date of the car, not 3 cars ago of that particular model and make. So that's where we're at. I'm off the high horse in that one.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2017-06.
Second it. Okay, Greg?
Yep.
Jackie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yep.
Vivian? Jimmy?
Yep.
And we'll say this one more time. We're not picking on any one person.
Backside.
We're not picking on any one person.
Yeah, there's multiple.
Yes.
What if your house is wrapped in insulation, it's been that way for like 6 months?
Is it missing a void of siding?
Yeah.
You're going to get
Sure
a copy.
is.
You'll get a copy of regulation, see what it says.
Not mine.
Okay. Mayor's report. I kind of did a couple of things that while we were out here doing paying the bills. I already talked about the attaboy for the bank. I already talked about the condemned house down there in Allen. I really don't have anything other than that. Anybody have anything for the better of the mayor? Going once, going twice. Okay. Any new business? As we go into new business, so happens I do. And this would be for everybody here too. You can clear off some of that stuff in the middle of the table there. Okay, these are plans for the North Main Street reconstruction. It just has about everybody's name on there. Sorry.
I'm to blame.
Yeah. But here's all the information that how they're going to do it, all the framework safety requirements and estimated quantities of all the aggregate and stuff like that. Here's a copy of the map, and this is what you're actually going to see what's going on. You guys, you want to come up and stand up and see what's going on here. It's not a big deal. But you can see right here's where the project's going to start. You can see where the sidewalks are going to all come all the way down. You'll have your break right there, and they're going to go all the way down to Center Street. So you're going to have sidewalks that go all the way down. Am I correct on that? Yes, Jason. Approximately 50 feet on both sides of the road, or 25 feet on both sides of the roadway on Center Street and on Pennsylvania.
No, Center is going clear back here.
Oh, this is going all the way back there. Okay, they're going to resurface all Center Street back here on these two. They're going to come back to about right here on Pennsylvania Avenue. This is where the post office is. They're going to tear out the sidewalk right, or they're going to leave the sidewalk right here.
I'm not sure, that was just questioned. If we can leave it, I guess we're going to.
Okay. Along with that, right here, you can see where the water always storms up right here. Okay, you can see where the old storm drain used to be right there. They're going to bring that back down the plane. They're going to actually connect this side to that side. Am I right on that one? They connect this side to that side. So the water comes in here, go in here, and then it'll roll down.
Roll down right about this house right here.
No. We're going to have a curve right here.
No, it's going to connect into the pipe.
You told me it's going to open the drain there.
There's a pipe.
Well, yeah, there's that ditch, it's the big issue with the ditch across here.
You see this easement right here?
See the sleeve right here, Dan?
Yeah.
This is where they're talking about putting what I call curtain drain. But it's basically probably going to be a metal drain.
Okay.
And it's going to help with the water flow because the grade is so messed up. But that will go directly into this pipe where, everybody know where that big box is?
Mm-hmm.
That'll go directly into that pipe that's in there, and right now that's a 12-inch pipe. So we're hopeful that it will handle it. all of the water once the curb and gutters installed and the new roadways installed.
Because everybody knows how that water sits right here. Hell, I mean, here sometimes it's 10 inches deep right there, maybe even more.
The reason
Where's
we're
it
not
going to go to from
replacing that is because of that,
Handicap?
no, what's that called, where the fire department, right in front of the Kirk's carpet
Oh,
store?
no, that's down here. No, that's right
It's the
here.
post office.
Oh, okay.
No, we're still debating on that issue
Yeah, that's
right
fairly
there.
new concrete right there.
Yeah, that's fairly new concrete right there. What we're debating on that one right there is,
The metal.
yeah, the metal. When they pull the sidewalk off there, they're gonna have to take a look at what is actually supporting that cistern. If that's
Right.
something that they can deal with, then they'll deal with that. If not, they'll probably end up filling it in.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
The other side over here, these are gonna be ADA compliant now too, so we're actually gonna be on the other side of Center, making these two sidewalks, even though they're gonna continue to be old sidewalks, they're gonna at least be ADA compliant once they're done. See what I'm saying?
So, this lady's gonna lose her trees. Let's
Yeah.
lay it out.
Yeah, and the thing is, of course, everybody, the curb and the sidewalk's gonna be together. There's not gonna be that grassy knoll between them anymore. Curb and sidewalks all go in one piece.
That'll be nice.
But
Are
the
there any
sidewalk's
trees that
gonna
have
be
to
as
come out?
wide as they already
Took
have.
them out on
Yeah.
the side.
Gotta be.
Yeah, they'll be standard state.
Bad. I wanna talk to her, and we just haven't had a chance
Just
to talk to her.
dig them up and put them in her backyard.
When will this be finished?
Estimated 6 weeks from today.
So time for the bicentennial.
Yeah.
Huh?
200 years.
I know that, but does anybody follow any bicycles?
Okay, here's a little more drawing of the catch basins and where they're gonna install them. Of course, a lot of this is alleviating that issue that we've always had right there in Pennsylvania Avenue. Okay, keep in mind, we're gonna be taking out that lump in the middle of the street, that big old hump that's been there, that's gonna go.
So now are the storm drain, are the people's the water lines and stuff underneath these streets?
It's deep.
So you won't
But the-
be scraping into them? or-
No, the only thing, I hate writing on plans, but the only thing that's getting milled is this middle section.
They're taking
So
that
where
lump out.
where it's real high, this is gonna get milled
You still have
down.
water
Everything
laying
else
back
is gonna
here.
stay. So it's
Water
just that
lines,
hump in the middle. And-
It's better.
Right, but this one, the main, that everybody thinks is at the top, it's way, way, way,
It's down in
way.
there,
It's like
because I didn't know how, I know Jess put some of those in, so.
Well, we
How far down he was-
actually found out how deep the sanitary store is, and we'll never have to worry about hitting it. When we go on to phase 2, which is gonna be south, going down South Main Street this way down there, and hopefully we can get the grant, that's what we're looking at. The next grant, or next future street grant will be from 22 south, and we're gonna try to take that all the way down to the village limits down there. Now, the biggest problem down there was the issue being the lump in the middle of the roadway, where everybody said the reason the lump's there is because the sanitary sewer is only 4 foot underneath the roadway. When we found out it's 14 feet under the roadway, we don't have to worry about that, so they can grind that out. Here's, you can see where they're gonna bring the elevation down,
So
all
will
the way
there
down
be
here.
curb, will there be curb when this is done after you
Curb and
grind out the
gutter,
center,
but-
so there'll be curb and gutter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, so here's all the stuff that they're doing right here in this particular, right through here. You can see we're bringing it to grade. Everything's going to sidewalk. The sidewalk will be, when you walk across the street, you won't have to worry about walking like a sailor. Okay?
Putting your motorcycle down the ditch.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about that anymore. We're going to have to look at what we're going to do the way they have that parking right now. That may not change, but we're going to have to look at it.
Over here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with that, because the way, the longer the truck, the big long trucks, and they sit in there, people have to go left to center to, to go around them. So, that's where we're at there, and all those other stuff is just, engineering stuff. So that's what you're looking at. And this is down, right out here, and then this is the other street. Down
So
that
the
way.
second phase will be after you get funding?
Yeah, we'll have to apply for a grant.
Yeah, we have to, and remember.
So will the asphalt on North Main Street be corrected then now that that's in this phase?
Yeah, it'll be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the next 6 weeks?
Yeah, but it's only going to center.
It's only going to center, we're not going past.
We are going off
Yeah.
the sides of the streets a little bit, but it mainly is just North Main.
The way we're going to do it, we have to do it in basically 3 phases. It's just because of the funding issues. They just can't. we would love to just, hey, give us $1 million, we'll go ahead and do we want. The state goes, no, you're gonna get 300 here and 300 there and 300 here, and there'll be 2-year stagger between, or 3 years, depending on how the grant fund tree works. You can shake it, you know, you shake it hard enough to get more money out of it, but here lately, we've been shaking as hard as we can. We're taking as much funding as we can get from anybody we can get it from.
But with on the Holland Mine survey, when it coming back to 85.5%, this village should be what
Handle just about any grant that
we
you
should
get.
be. Yeah.
So, you know, Jason's been applying for other grants. He's on the computer dealing with it and stuff when, you know, in between these issues right here. A lot of stuff, you remember, a lot of stuff will start with Joe too. You know, let's give Joe his credit. You know, a lot of stuff started with him. But this is where we're at now. We're in that phase now that we're actually starting to see what we started 3 years ago. Because remember, all this stuff started 3 years ago. Okay.
During that construction, how are we going to take the traffic on the site?
You mean when we do the
Yeah.
paving itself?
Yeah, you go. You got north. You got northeast.
Alley, you got
Yeah.
good
We can close this
They
off right
won't,
there.
they'll be able to pave that all like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't take on at all to do.
Okay, so how was that for
Sounds nice.
new news?
That's good news. Good
Good
news.
news.
They can probably pave.
I know everybody like a little bit of good news.
I think they said that you were feeding all the crew while they were working because you're so close and you are Pennsylvania.
What are you talking about?
Jason.
Oh, yeah.
That's Jason.
All right, now that we're done all the ordinances, Jason, we had to table your portion of it. Will you please give your portions of it? Start with the.
I apologize.
No.
Vivian, congratulations.
Thank you.
Sorry to lose one, but congratulations. You want police first?
Yeah, for what's on the.
I actually spent a lot of time trying to get all this together. Maybe. Okay, so we can start here. What I did was I tried to put together a 6-month. This is what's happened over the last 6 months, basically kind of like a State of the Union type thing. So, would everyone like me to read this out loud? Do you want to?
Yeah, Jason, we don't have copies if you'd like to read.
What?
We don't have any copies back if you'd like to read.
You can have one if you want one. Okay, so it's been an honor for me to serve the village in launching our police department. Throughout our time in New Holland, Jen and I, if you don't know, Jen is my wife, we have been welcomed with warm arms from the citizens. I hope this letter serves its intended purpose of updating you on the current status of the department and the many great milestones we have accomplished in a half year's time. We have ripped drug dealers out of our neighborhoods, successfully apprehended bank robbers within minutes. Along with countless policing measures, we have increased safety for the village citizens while creating a positive revenue stream that will be used to improve the town's infrastructure. The 3 cruisers that we purchased, which everyone's fully aware, we purchased those for $6,000, fully equipped. The small investment has brought in more than $26,815.15 at this point for the village from the police department, from the police officers. I think everyone knows we built a physical police department downstairs. A lot of the stuff that was built with was donated by myself or Butch, and it was mainly done from the officers' work. Mostly it was built from the police officers and myself. Let's see. Everyone knows that we have a volunteer police department. I hope you don't let that persuade your opinion. for some of these officers' resumes, any department would love to have them on their roster. And I'm thankful for their dedication. Through our work, we have issued 251 traffic citations in the 6 months, ranging from license plate lights to driving under suspension. It is no secret that the village lacked adequate law enforcement protection previously. We were able to secure a $1,000 donation from a citizen, which was, Mavis already mentioned that, the New Holland Engineering. And thanks to council has been able to approve for the officers to receive enough money to pay for their gasoline for their trips here for their shifts. I honestly, I feel that the village is very lucky to have the officers that we do have. I've several times watched them go out of their way to help many, many people in this village. Let's see, we have made several arrests since our inception. 45 criminal arrests have been made. When this department started, we had approximately 3 drug dealers in the village that we knew of, and they have either been arrested or ran out of town by our efforts. We know our efforts are having a downstream effect because of as a result, we have watched foot traffic reduce drastically, along with less drug paraphernalia being found during our traffic stops. I was able to save the department or the village several $1,000s by getting handheld radios donated. We were actually just recently figured out a way to make ID badges for the officers that at no cost to us, which obviously if anybody, with the problems that we have today, where you guys are aware of the thing that just happened recently in Pickaway County where they had somebody stopping people and they were in a police type car. So with that really encouraged us to get a good type of identification for the officers. So honestly, so that it would make the residents feel safer. We have several boxes of surplus uniform equipment that Jen and I donated to the department. It's downstairs. It ranges from duty belts and holsters and hats and shirts. I picked those up somewhere, and we are allowing anyone that comes to work here to have that stuff for free, and also any other agency that may need any type of equipment. We've actually had a couple other departments come here and get some equipment. Butch already talked about that I've been communicating with ODOT for the speed limits. That's to increase the safety for our citizens. And let's see. And everyone's familiar with the fact that I believe everyone's familiar with the fact that we're using leads in the cruisers, which it helps us so that we don't have to rely on the sheriff's office so much, and it also helps us to get immediate responses when we're dealing with people. I try to keep it simple. Overall, our officers have taken 110 criminal reports, and as I said before, we've arrested 45 individuals for criminal arrests. And again, that's within the first 6 months of the department starting. I know everybody in here knows that, there were a lot of people that were hesitant, especially the people that live here in the village, that were very hesitant about the police department. And I truly feel that has changed a lot. And I think that's because of the job that the officers are doing, because of their kindness. And I'm thankful that we've been given the opportunity to do this. I think Butch already read this. I did not know he was going to read it, so you guys have that copy. Everybody can have one. I was very, very surprised to receive that, actually, from them.
This has one here, too.
Yeah, I got one. I got Butch's. Get one from him. Butch don't have one.
I have one.
received this from Smitty's, from Sabrina. Jimmy, have you one?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it is. That's a big change from the very beginning.
What's that?
This is a big change from the very beginning.
Yeah.
How many more do we need in here?
One more. Okay.
One more, and then, all right.
You guys, everybody got it? Okay, on July 30th, Lieutenant Slimes resigned his commission here at this police.
Before you go there, Jason, could you ask me a question for me?
Yes, sir.
What's, you said our officers are using LEDs.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, sorry, that's the computers in the cars, the leads. It's what allows to get license plate information of people, find out if people have warrants. Like if we run a tag on a car and the person that owns the car has a warrant, it will tell us that, so we're prepared to deal with that prior to having interaction with them.
What LED stands for is Law Enforcement Aided Dispatch.
Oh, way to go.
I remember those things.
You did?
You're a compliment.
Yeah, one time.
And BOLOs?
It's a BOLO, let's be on the lookout. That will, if the county can put that out, or any other police department can put that out, and it'll go through our leads, and it'll notify us if there's a missing person or stolen car, anything that, you know, another department would want you to be on the lookout for.
That's all I had on that one.
Okay. So, I think the note speaks for itself. I really honestly feel bad about the situation, and I feel bad. I feel like that there's something going on there with somebody's age, and I don't think that that's really helping them in any way. So, what's that?
Yes. Can I put 2 cents in on this?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what he does, but he don't look the road, but
Yeah.
I don't know what he does. Okay, so everybody have a copy of everything?
Okay. Anything else? Got citation or anything?
Anybody has any questions about this? Captain Conrad's here. He came in case anybody wanted to ask him about when it resigned, or the letter that was sent that he wrote down. If anyone has any questions for him about that, I can get him for you.
He's back in your office.
Does he do the same rotation everybody else does? Does he do the same rotation everybody else does? Because that's the first time I've ever heard of him since I've been here.
Who's that?
The captain.
Oh, he's here every Sunday. I mean, I'm not sure what he's rotation is, but he usually is here every Sunday.
So the whole rub was the captain got on the lieutenant for sending out memos because the captain figured that was his responsibility, or what?
I'm not, honestly, Greg, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know why the lieutenant, here's what I can tell you that I do know. I know that every police department has a chain of command, and when this was put out by the lieutenant, the chain of command was not followed, and so what he put out was not reviewed by myself or the captain, and it had a lot of errors on it, had a lot of typos on it, it had wrong information on it about the officers, about their email addresses, about their phone numbers, and it had some stuff on it that was kind of inappropriate. I felt, and so did the captain. So that was addressed, and I have the letter that the captain wrote to him, and I don't see in any way, shape, or form how there was anything wrong with the letter that was wrote to him. And I don't know, really, honestly. I just feel like he kind of went off the deep end. I mean, I really don't know why. I don't know what the situation is. Like I said, I feel bad for him. I feel like maybe he has some, something going on mentally, or
Are any charges going to be filed against him from this?
I don't want to do that. But, I mean, that's something, I guess, Jackie, he continues to do things. And I've told him to stop, and I've told him not to contact anyone here. And he's not listening to that. And again, I mean, I don't want to do something like that, because really, truly, I believe he has.
Sometimes we have to.
I know. But I really do feel like he has a medical issue or something.
I can guarantee that, well, at this point, I can't guarantee, but just to let you all know that he came to me as a council person, but he also came because my wife grew up with him. My wife Laura, her dad, and lieutenant were in the military together. So he thought he could come talk to me directly, asking what my opinions were. As a council person, I recommended that if he had the threats via cell phone or whatever, he needed to be here for this, to present his cell phone, to show the threats and everything else. He dropped me a packet off. I've seen the letter that the captain wrote. And I've looked through the packet that he dropped off to me, and my interpretation of that packet was he was doing a lot of whining over really nothing. The way it was presented to me verbally was completely different. So when he dropped this packet off to me to go through, look through it, it came down to the point where there was a lot of whining. He was doing a lot of whining, unnecessary things that didn't pertain. They needed to be even brought up. And I told him that he needed to be present for this meeting to show us his cell phone again, to show the text messages that he was saying that he received from Jason, the police chief, on threats and stuff. The only way we can take it is by verbal.
I have copies of all those, and you can all
Right,
have one.
I had those too. But the situation was, anytime I've gone into a situation with an attitude of, I've had threats on my cell phone, you have to have the cell phone there so they can actually see the cell phone, the threats made on the cell phone. Otherwise, it's just out the door. Anybody can print it up. And evidently, he didn't show up. He told me he was going to try to make it or call me. Well, he hasn't done either. So as far as a person that he was brought up to, I can't go with anything as just Jason's everything was on
Those
the
are
right
from
side
between him and
of
the
everything being done.
Those ones are.
So he didn't show you the cell phone?
No, and even I asked him for it twice, and he still wouldn't. He gave me a printout, a copy, which I can make a copy of your phone saying, Jason said this to you, and it's not going to go anywhere unless you actually see the actual cell phone and with it right there. So he was asked to show up for this evening, and he said he could try to make it, but he would call me, and he still hasn't called me, so I checked my phone before I come back in.
So now that we're not allowed to, now that I've told him not to come here anymore because of issues, now he's mailing us stuff. And it's basically the same thing. He continues to mail the letter that was sent to him by Captain Connor. And, I mean, anyways, like I said, I have a packet here. If anyone wants to look at it, they are more than welcome to. I also have, I wasn't planning on getting this far into this, but these are reports that were taken by Lieutenant Sines while he was here, and these are traffic citations that were written by Lieutenant Sines here while he was here, and everything that's highlighted is major errors, and I honestly did not realize that someone with 50 or 40 or whatever years of law enforcement he has could not do these simple things, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to, like I said, I feel feel bad. I feel like there's something possibly medically going on with him. But as I said, it hasn't. Even though he's been told to stop, it still continues.
So these stories of some police officer who has no name chasing people out of town, clear out to the S curve, or pulling them over for something, and then just saying, "Oh, I just wanted to see who you were." Was that him?
I don't have any way to.
Oh, you don't know?
I mean, I can't say that. Now, I will tell you that there have been occasions that I myself, and I know of officers that have had to follow somebody clear to the S-curves to get them to stop. And that's due to the amount of traffic or, whatever. And, if somebody commits a violation here, the officer shouldn't be doing anything dangerous to catch up with them, but they are allowed to follow them that far to make it, if they committed a violation here in their jurisdiction. And again, I have done that myself, and like I said, if something like that happens, it's usually due to the amount of traffic, not being able to get turned around, something like that. But I would hope that the officer's not going 120 mile an hour to catch up with them.
Oh, I don't know whether there was speed involved or not. Just people, and this is just comments, it's
Right.
this person and that person. Or Facebook, God love Facebook.
Gotta love it, yeah.
They followed me clear out of town and stopped me and just wanted to know who I was. And, these are people, local people in New Holland. And
We don't stop anybody just to tell them, hey, who we are. I mean, we can honestly get sued for that.
Yeah.
So, this is the letter that actually came in the mail, and it's the letter that was sent to Lieutenant Sines by Captain Conrad. And I think if you look at this may tell you a little more about why I'm saying there might be a medical issue or something. It's not, he wrote all over it and sent it back here. I don't know what's going on with that, but like I said, I think maybe there's some kind of medical issue.
I'm sorry, so he wrote on it, or did he write?
He said something about calling him a liar, which nobody ever called him a liar. I honestly can't even remember. I have so much stuff.
Now, is this information, should this be publicized out there?
I don't think so.
Well, it's public record.
I know it's public, I'm just asking a simple question, because I don't want to see it all over Facebook like I've seen things with.
Well, I'm
It's a simple question, I understand, it's just a simple question.
I think really what we need to do is, at this point, you see all the facts in front of you. Obviously, he's not here to present his case. I'd love to hear the case. Unfortunately, he's not here. I don't want to go on and beat a guy up that's not here.
Well, he's not allowed to be here.
Well,
Jason told him he didn't.
but a council member invited him to come here to the meeting.
Defend himself.
Yeah, to defend himself, and he would have that opportunity. He would be allowed to be here for that. And he knows that. Okay, so what I would like to do at this point, unless you have anything else, anybody else have anything for the chief?
I got a question.
Yeah, chief.
It says here, Jason, on your New Holland Police Department, that Leonard tried to interfere with the criminal investigation by contacting those who are being investigated to tell them about the investigation. So,
That is correct.
so he, what kind of investigation was it?
Honestly, it's still open, and I can't say anything
Okay,
about that right now.
okay. And what village property did he damage?
Well, I think I have that. What's that? Pass that down to Greg, or- I mean, it's very minimal, Greg, but I think it goes to show the intent.
I actually, not that I'm not going to take sides, when Lieutenant came in here to resign, I was in here that morning, he came in, dropped the bag at my feet, said, I'm done. And I asked him, I said, hey, before you leave here, so there's something you want to talk about, let's talk about this for a second. And I have nothing to say to you, and out the door he went. So, even I was trying to bring him back in and find out what was going on, so.
give him full opportunity,
I did,
and so have I, so.
yeah.
So the people that you guys are investigating came to you and told you the Leonard signs came to them and what, and discussed the investigation with them?
Well, it sounds like.
Well, Greg, I can't talk about it right now. I mean, when it's over, I'll be more than
Right.
happy to.
I understand.
Maybe consult period.
But, you know,
Cause it's on me.
I mean, if he didn't want to talk about it, he probably shouldn't put it on there that he tried to interfere with criminal investigation by contacting those who are being investigated to tell them about the investigation, because that just opens up questions.
Okay, well, at this point, you know, we're not gonna drag on the discussion anymore. Got a little ahead of ourselves on that one. Quite frankly, I didn't like that discussion whatsoever, but that's a different issue altogether. Okay. Let's see, what else? Anybody else have anything else for the chief? Okay, let's go to administration report.
Okay, so I did the same thing for the village administrator as what I did for the police department. I tried to do, I mean, granted, everything is not in here, but I tried to highlight some of the things that have happened over the last 6 months. Let me know. On the front, the date, I actually put the date, I typed it, not the date, so.
It's the dollar store really coming along quickly.
It is.
You're putting up the
It is.
posting.
As you can see, I, virtually started this same way. That it's been an honor to serve the citizens of the village. So as everyone knows, and we talk about it all the time, we all lost our friend Joe unexpectedly, and it bothered us all. And I don't know that anybody's actually completely past it yet. Just wanted to actually just mention Joe again, which has already been done, obviously. Like I said, I think that was kind of, a disheartening thing to a lot of people. So the Dollar General store, things are going very well. Terry Sinclair is the site manager down there. He contacts me and Bush and Shannon and I think everybody in the office about 5 times a day. So we're staying in pretty good grace with him, and he's allowing us to know everything that's going on. So we have, during my 10 years in village administrator, I've oversaw desperately needed street and water work projects and increased safety and the creation of revenue stream by the launch of the police department. In the last 6 months, goals have been reached and a clear path for the future has been created. We have finished a desperately needed street patching project, which saved the village approximately $15,000 by using my background in construction. I want to publicly thank the mayor, members of council, and the citizens who helped with this project. Our team has repaired 2 water main leaks and a sewer backup. Again, with us doing the work ourselves, we have saved approximately $5,500 for the village. Myself, Joey, and Patrick have installed new parking area at the village offices to help with congestion, and we ordered and installed new street signs around the village to make it safer and a more visible environment. You may have noticed the water treatment plant looks a lot cleaner, a little cleaner. That's because we cleared and removed the majority of the overgrown brush that was a haven for the rodents, the insects, the snakes. I don't know if anybody noticed that because nobody probably goes out there, but it was
Everybody should go to the water and sewer treatment plants.
Yeah, see the snake?
Yeah, should go, because there's people in this town that don't even know where they're at.
I think our neighborhoods are starting to look cleaner. After the excess of the abasement on at least 3 rundown abandoned homes, in the long term, hopefully these abatements will lead to revenue for the village through the payment of demolition services by the landowner or through the liquidation of the land. There was broken playground equipment at the community center that was left behind during the acquisition of the property. It has been dismantled to ensure a safer environment for the children. I have plans to seek community grants to grow and restore the playground to a safer place for everyone. We have managed to take most of the loose scrap around the village, such as the water plant and the sewer plant. There was a lot when I came here. We have managed to clean most of that stuff up. We've taken it in, and the village received approximately $500 for doing so. Everyone's familiar, except maybe you, the work that was done on the parking lot over here at the bank. That actually turned out very well. If everyone's noticed, there's like no potholes over there anymore. That has actually worked out really good. And actually, Trish, I believe you had something to do with that. Let's see. Everybody can see the numbers on there. I was able to negotiate a contract with IntelliWave. I think everybody remembers that, for the sign on the water tower. That when I did that, I tried to do that with in mind that the cruisers were costing us $300 a month, and that was the number I was set on when I was trying to negotiate that with him, because I was saying, hey man, this can pay for the cruiser payment. So. Another positive successful negation was the Main Street project. When this project was initially done, the in-kind contribution was not figured into this project. So when I came here, it made us more versatile. So we were able to get them to allow us to do the in-kind donation. The contractor that actually is doing the concrete work, we're tearing out all the concrete and they're putting it back in, but he gave us an estimate of $45,000 to do the work that we are doing ourselves. So even with paying employees and fuel and such, I figure we're probably saving the village around $40,000. Everybody's aware that we've already started that, and it actually found out later on that it's working out a little bit differently than I thought it was going to. I was assuming that we could take the estimate from the contractor and just turn that in for our in-kind once the work was done. But basically they're making us document every single person, hour, equipment. But again, it's working out. To date, we're probably, I would guess we've done at least $5,000 worth of work, even based on the guidelines they're wanting us to follow. I figured the equipment were over $3,000 with the equipment use. I have not figured the employees yet. Everybody, we've talked about the ODOT stuff. I applied for a grant for some safety equipment. That was awarded. Oh goodness. We kind of put this on hold due to everything that's going on, but we are still working. I'm still working with the solicitor to try to get some of the property annexed that we already provide services to. According to what the solicitors told me, it's very simple for us to annex the properties that we already provide services to. So we're trying to do that, obviously, for the tax base and such. I'm working right now on something with BWC. It's basically an employee program for alcohol, drug abuse, stuff like that. And if we do this, it will save us 15% on our workers' comp for the village. So I'm trying to get that done right now. It's basically a drug and alcohol program. We just would have to follow their guidelines, and So everyone knows that the LMI survey was completed and that it came back at 85.5%. I think almost everyone in here has seen the pond and the park. We kind of just do that in between. trying to get it done. I'm trying to get all the edges graded so that they can be planted with grass seed so that it can be mowed so that what happened does not happen again out there. And we're getting it. I mean, I think everybody knows we're getting it. If we had a little bit bigger equipment, it probably ought to be done, but we're getting it with what we got. I'm looking into getting an aerator for the pond. If anybody's seen it recently, you can see all the algae.
Level's low.
Trying, what's that?
The water's low. It's below the basin that it flows over into.
Yeah.
So unless you poke a hole in the side of it.
Well, if we can get an aerator in there and continue to put oxygen into the water, it's supposed to help with that. So I'm trying to look into that a little more, and I'll have, whenever I figure that out, I'll have all the information. And I figure that we've saved the village approximately $20,000 by doing this work ourselves. On the pond, we've taken down some playground equipment out there that wasn't safe. And I think everybody may know now that the internet site that we had from the previous administration is now gone. So the next step is
to build a new one.
Yes, the next step is to build a new one, but we will have to have money to do that probably unless someone has that ability. I think that's pretty much it on the, I have no notes somewhere here when I wanted to, I know everybody wants to get out here and everybody's tired. Council, Mayor, I would like to, I want to know if it's possible that the checks that are done by the mayor and council, I want to know if it's possible for those to be emailed. I mean, not the actual check, but so that everyone can review that prior to the council meeting.
I don't think that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't get them done until today.
What we need to do is we just need to come to a better way. We need to put them up on the screen, and that way everybody can look at them all at the same time. You know, even if we have to do the old overhead projector days where you put it on there, okay, everybody see that, see what it's for, next one, and then we can do it all at the same time. We just need to do that. You know,
Can you put that towards the end of the meeting?
It has to be in front of the meeting because you have visitors coming in here and they have to have the ability of watching us do all that stuff. That has to be front loaded in the meeting.
But I didn't see anybody watching us though. They were bored as heck.
Yeah, I understand they're bored out, but you know, there's always that, you know, if somebody at council has a question on that, that may be something they might want to look into. So, you know, you want to kind of get that done in the front half of the meeting as quickly as possible because that's the painful part of the meeting.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
I got a picture of them.
We're at the screen. It should still be down in the gym. Up on top of that.
Well, I've got a screen too.
My thoughts on it was just that it would, you know, that it would allow the council meeting to move along, and it would also cut down on payroll for certain people that are getting paid to be here.
What did you want to do, Jason? Because I had trouble hearing what you suggested.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I was suggesting that somehow we try to email the checks to you at home, to your email, if everyone has that, so that you could be more comfortable going over them, and that it would make the meetings go quicker. And it would also save us on payroll because there are people here that are getting paid to be here. And I don't like, Mavis is shaking her head no, so, you know, whether we can or can't do that, I don't know.
Me personally, as mayor, I'm here today, I would not be comfortable with it.
I don't like it. I don't want it either.
Yeah, I would not be comfortable with it. We can find an old AV, overhead projector.
Lay them on.
Lay them on there, everybody see it. Lay them on there and do it like that. You do that, 20 times, everybody sees it. In fact, everybody that's in here will see it, visitors and all. There's the check, is what it's for.
Yeah, but you got to do the work order and then what the work order was for, what project it came from and everything.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You do with that one check. Here's a check, here's the work order, here's this, and you get to see it all. So sometimes maybe going back to the old overheads, I don't know if anybody's got one of them old darn things around, but if you can find one, I have
just got rid of one at work. I had donated.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out for another one.
All right.
So I wanted to talk about Shannon's job a little bit, just real quick. She has, I believe, with what she's done in the water department, she has saved us a lot of money, and I believe she's brought in a lot of money that probably has been hanging out there for 10 years, honestly. And I don't know if it's because of her intelligence or if it's because she's learned the system or what exactly it is, but she has done a very good job in there, and I believe she has, brought the water department up to where it needs to be. So I would think that, that we probably, Butch and I have discussed this already. So I would like to speak about Joey also. Things are I feel like things are a lot different here now than they were when Joe was the village administrator. Joe was awesome. I truly, honestly believe that, but Joe and I are two totally different people. Joe did things on the computer and I do things out there. I try to juggle both parts of it, but I try to make what we're doing in this village visible, so the residents are aware that things are happening and that we are trying to spend their money appropriately, and so that when it does come to getting things past levies and such, that maybe we have a better chance of getting that kind of stuff passed because they see that we are making progress and we are moving forward. Joey has been, honest to goodness, he has been great. I'm not just saying this because he's here. I had no idea he was going to be here tonight. He stays over when he needs to. He does what he needs to. He's very, very, very helpful, and he is definitely dedicated to this village. Again, the mayor and I have talked about this. I would like to give both of them $1 an hour raise, and I would like for council to table that, approve it. However, I'm not 100% sure what has to happen first with that, but that is something that I'm asking for them because of their dedication and hard work. Jimmy has been here almost every single day for, it seems like forever. It's probably only been 2 or 3 months now, but he has been so helpful. He's been so helpful to all of us. And so I wanted to thank him for that. I wanted council to know, that he's been working really hard to help the village. And again, it's not about money or anything like that. It's about helping the village. And everyone, Victor has given me a lot of advice about things, and he has tried to help me in any way he can with the police department stuff, which I very much appreciated. Jackie she's been very good about complimenting and stuff on how things are going. So anyway, I just wanted to say thanks for that stuff. Greg? Mm-hmm. Greg?
Yeah.
I want to apologize to you for what happened between
Why don't you
us.
tell them what you apologized for, Jason?
Well, Greg and I, or well, not really Greg and I, but
Is it that hard?
no, I'm just trying to think of the appropriate way to say it. I'm trying not to be wrong here. I wanted to apologize to you for the way that I came across to you at the park.
The way you came across to me.
At this point, okay, I would like to take this in executive session for personnel issues.
I make a motion, we go into executive session to discuss personal issues.
And roll call vote.
Yes.
Greg, you made them.
Jackie,
I made copies of everything.
Victor, Danny,
We're taking a vote here, boys. Pay attention.
Vivian, Jimmy.
Yep.
Who seconded it?
I did.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I was just making sure I had everything. No, I made copies.
9:25.
Yeah, I tried to. Thank you. I don't know if I got it right, but I tried. This is for this year. No, this year.
Get a motion to come back in off of executive session.
I make a motion to come in back from executive session.
Second.
Second is Jimmy.
What is that?
Okay, what time was it?
10:30.
10:30.
When did we go out?
Who seconded it?
9:25.
I did.
Okay, Greg?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Yes.
Vic?
You can't, you weren't here.
Vic?
Yes.
Danny?
Sorry.
Vivian?
Yes.
And Jimmy?
Yes.
That's your copy
Okay.
of the ordinance.
Okay, Finance Committee report, we have nothing to report. Cemetery, Vic, you got anything?
Got a couple of issues going on right now. We had a gentleman stop out Tuesday night, reference to section 18. He's got a couple family members buried there. Wanted to purchase a couple of other lots in section 18. Right now, he says it's open, but what we've been running into is members or people had documentation for lot 17 where it was flooding all the time, were moved over to section 18 and it was not documented for their title, their deeds. So at this point, we're not sure what's going on 18. Luckily, we had that information in our previous minutes from the month before, so I can show the gentleman. I advised him that we would be the trustees would be going out with the sexton to investigate section 18 where he was talking about wanting to purchase things or plots that aren't available at this point, to see if there's even a plot available, and we would get back with him on that situation. Also, we would like, considering our phone number, there's no listing for the cemetery phone number out there right now. It's under an individual's name for the cemetery. They asked me about having the cemetery phone number listed under our new village of New Holland. Just having the phone number.
Did we already
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
have the mail phone books already? I think they were come out in May, didn't
Yeah, I don't
they?
know.
Yeah.
And then
They're already here, we got them, because I
Yeah.
pulled one.
And then the other issue was for the, not November's ballot, but if we have a ballot for May, putting an item on there to redo our levy that is expiring or need to update it to get to the current tax base. So that was brought up also. So that was my other question. So whenever I get with you on that,
Yeah, I have to look at the levies, 'cause I don't,
I'll get with you on
I
that one later
don't
on.
think we have one until, we have two back to back, and then we have a year off.
That we just want to change the one, the board up there has agreed to make the change to get up to the current dollar figure from not the one we're $1,400 short of currently now that we'll be getting next year. So we want to update that to get to the current dollar figures.
Also, and I brought this up to Claire, that they've never signed a new contract. So you know what's going to happen if they don't do their levy? The same thing that happened a few years ago. They only paid $1,000 a month.
Is that Terry?
So, I mean, we had a new contract drawn up and it didn't get passed here.
Now, at this
So,
point, there's,
just keep it in mind, kind of fill it out,
Right.
see what Pete says or...
Well, working pretty good. Pete's pretty well straightened out now since I won't take any lip or anything
the
anymore.
problem we have over there too is that, see, we have 3 1 mills, they have 1 3 mill. The problem is their 3 mill goes down, they get no money. At least if one's defeated, we still get money until we get another one passed. So we're always going to be donating, or not donating, but raising money for the cemetery. The issue being is right now everybody in the village pays exactly the same as everybody in a township. Everybody pays 3 mills. Nobody pays any more than anybody else. Just because they have more people doesn't mean that we don't pay it the same as they pay, or they are paying. Same thing. Unless they want to annex into the village, and I'll be all about annexing their people into the village and taking more money. But anyway.
That's all I have.
Okay. Fire department, obviously, the only thing I can tell you is the fire district asked for Kenny Howard's resignation because he lives outside the fire district. I don't know what other issues it is. I don't know what Kenny's doing. That's the only thing I heard. I know the tanker dispute has not been taken done yet. They're fixing the tanker. I don't know why they're doing this. They're fixing the tanker, putting an automatic transmission in the tanker. It costs almost $10,000. Okay, wanting to redo the frame or something. I don't know what the heck they're doing.
They're
And then
beefing the frame up so it'll support that tank.
right, and then they only want them to carry half the water.
Right.
I don't know.
Dangerous right there enough
Yeah, I
as
thought
it
that
is without
they
half
couldn't-
the full tank.
I had heard before that they couldn't fix that. They had to get another one. They could not fix it.
Well,
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Yeah, but according to Cody and Jim Peck, they can get it fixed cheap. I guess they have somebody local working on it. I don't know who it is.
Cheap and come fix mine.
Harper down in
It don't
Frankfurt.
last.
Okay.
Did you say ask for Kenny's resignation?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they did ask for his resignation. The
Extremely
fire
more
board.
dangerous than it is.
Yeah, the fire board asked for his resignation because he lives outside the fire district, which by law you can live outside the fire district.
Yeah.
When is their next meeting?
It'll be the second Thursday in September.
Oh, they've already had their,
Yeah, they already had it. They had it last Thursday.
And who will be covering that now that Dwayne's out?
What's that?
well, we don't know.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Jackie, could you do that?
Oh, gosh.
I'm just asking.
I don't know. I don't know anything about fire.
I didn't
I
either.
don't know
When I
anything
was on the
about
fire
trucks. I hear everything that's going on. I don't know. I don't know with my schedule.
Danny served as fire board member, I've served
I
as fire
could.
board member, and
Well,
Second Thursday in
that
September.
kind of puts you in the.
Hot seat.
You'll do it.
Yeah.
You take Jackie. You take the cemetery.
Yeah, I can take cemetery. I don't know anything about dying or anything.
Yeah. The main thing on the cemetery situation, what we got going is you got Pete from Perry Township, Butch's wife there, and Sandy are the only ones unless you have a visitor. It's talking about plots and any conflicts with our temporary employees. It's been pretty mellow. Pete is pretty well straightened up since I've come on board. So
Where are these people at?
At the
we have it up
cemetery
at
house.
the hall or the house up there by the
Where?
cemetery on Egypt Pike, right across from the church. The house right there.
you know the house that sits.
It's an office
Yeah,
now.
that's the office.
Oh, okay.
I actually had a sign made.
I just live here.
We're in the same boat. A lot of people don't realize that that's the cemetery office. So I had a sign made that we're going to get posted. I got to get the bracket to put it out there, but it's the New Holland Union Cemetery. So
Okay. You good?
second, what is it?
Second Thursday.
Second.
9/14.
I can't go to.
And they start at what, 6 p.m.?
Seven.
Yeah.
I think it's is it 6?
Six.
Yeah, it's 6 p.m. now.
6
That's
p.m.
right. They changed
Our
it.
next meeting's not till the.
What says tomorrow?
We already had it.
Okay, be aware when you get over there who you're going to be dealing with.
I don't have a problem.
Okay. And the next time they no, I won't do it. We're on tape. Okay.
So that's September the 14th.
Yeah. I have no problem being thrown into the lines because I don't tolerate the crap anyways.
All right.
And I was on that fire department before, so.
Right. Public record, you don't have anything, Mavis? No, we don't have anything. Street lights. Danny, your bailiwick.
They're all burning.
They're all burning. Zoning and planning, Jess, I talked to him earlier this week and actually talked to him. He's aware of what's going on, what we talked about in the back. He's aware that, what I basically asked him to start getting these zoning board meetings rolling, at least try to get one a quarter, because he hasn't had one for a while. And also, one of the things of the zoning board is, we've got to start looking at some of these zoning violations, okay, and making reports on them so we can get that two-piece ticket going. Since we passed that tonight, So that's one of the things the zoning board is kind of responsible for a little bit, making sure that the use of the land is being done properly. Okay? And everybody here in council is allowed to jump in on that. You see somebody that's got crap going on, or building a fence, you know, you might not ask them right, but you can call down here and say, hey, maybe somebody add for a permit, or call Jess, somebody ask a permit for a fence or something like that. Because I don't have eyes all over the neighborhood, but nonetheless.
We cruise. We cruise every night.
One last issue before we do any conclusion here. Jason was talking about raises for employees. I'd like to do raises for all the employees, because the issue being is our employees are sadly being left behind. Okay? But what we have to do before we do that is we have to do a budget review and find out where we're at. Okay, Joey? Okay, Shannon? Okay? And that's okay, Mavis? Okay, because if we're going to do across the board, we're going to do it to everybody. Because let me tell you something, we're not going to be able to find anybody for $14 an hour doing what Mavis is doing. We're not going to find anybody for $13.50 doing what Joey's doing. And we're not going to find anybody for $14 an hour what Shannon's doing. Okay, she's already made her net worth because she's freaking awesome bringing money into the department, and she talks to these scumbags on the freaking phone, if you ask Mavis, all day long. She has to deal with these knuckleheads that call in here about, I ain't got the money for my ticket, or I was unfairly treated, or whatever it may be. She has to field those calls. And not only does she field the calls on that, but she has to deal with all the knuckleheads that think the water bill's too high.
By golly, mine was. It's $130.
Joey, in his behalf, we brought him in. He has special skills that we've been really digging into, that if he was to go someplace else, he could be demanding $20, $30 an hour. So we've got to bring him up to where we're at. We can't keep paying people $10 and $15 or $10 and $12 an hour to do $15 and $20 an hour labor. So we have to look at what we're doing on our pay scale. We've already talked about looking at our pay scale. We ramped the pay scale, but you know what? You can't hire a sewer plant operator and ask him to work out there in a ship hole for $15 an hour, because it's not going to happen. You're going to lose in the Columbus paying $32 for a sewer plant operator. It's not even qualified. Okay, so if we want to keep good people, we have to bring them up. We on council, we're sucking it, but nonetheless. So what I would ask, if I could get a motion on the table, do a budget review for pay raises.
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
Okay, so Vivian did the first on that, right?
Yes.
And who did the second?
I did.
Victor? Okay, depending on what the budget review comes up, we'll bring that back on the table next month. Hopefully we find the funds. Your job as the council is making sure these damn levies start getting passed. These general operating levies have got to pass, because without the general operating levies passing, we're just screwing ourselves.
That's what we got in November. General and streets.
And I think Joey and Shannon are making money for the village like you wouldn't believe. Out there doing the work and doing that stuff. So we're actually in a better place than we were 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I didn't think we were going to make it this far. 3 years ago, I thought we were going to be gone at this time. But we're fighting back. Okay? So
I'll make a motion to close.
there it is. Motion by. Well, you got it out there this time, didn't you?
2 months in a row we got bit, so
Okay.
I'll second it.
Get a second.
10:45.
10:45.
I'll get you next month.
There you go.
Who seconded it?
I did.
Victor, Greg,
Yeah.
Jackie,
Yes.
Victor,
Yeah.
Kenny, Vivian,
Yes.
and Jimmy.
What time did you leave?
Mavis.
What time did I leave?
Thank you for everybody's patience and everybody's concerns. We just go forward from here. You could have went home.
Dispatched at 7:21.
You could have went home before those fireworks.
And you returned.
About an hour and a half later.
Whoa.
89?
Yeah. Roma, yeah.
It's 80 degrees now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Because it looks funny you're voting and then you're not voting.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I needed to do on that situation.
Just as long as I put the time in there and you come back.
Okay. And for everybody who took care of me on my paperwork, I thank you for your help.
Jason said there.
Okay, yeah.